Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you're all doing well. Today we're taking it back to the old school with a classic clan war, which is a part of a greater picture. So the clan war is going to be a part of a clan war cup that is going on. So all of the major Total War Warhammer multiplayer clans are going to be involved, and we are just casting one of the many excellent duels that are going to be taking place in this tournament. So first up, we have ODM. Of course, if you guys have seen any of my tournaments, ECLs, faction wars, all that sort of good stuff, there is generally a lot of ODM players who always qualify. So very, very strong multiplayer clan facing off against the Sons of the Mountain, one of my favorite names for sure. A very proud Dawi clan hailing from all over the world, and they do not mess around. So we shall be loading in here in just a moment. We'll let some people gather, have some fun, and we can go from there. So overall today, we're going to be having 10 matches in total. Several of them will be 2v2s, and we do also have a 3v3 to end the stream. So let's go ahead and look at the scoring system for today's battles and jump there. So let me use the power of technology to pull this up. Look at that. I press a button and it just magically appears. So for the first match of the day, we have Grombrindle facing off against Razel. So it's going to be Empire versus Chaos, followed up by Predator with Wood Elves versus Super Munchkin on the Tomb Kings. Then we have our first 2v2 of the day. It's going to be Grombrindle and Tomb Kings and Vampire Counts against Dwarves and Wood Elves versus Call Harmon and Loopy, who I think might have had their name entered a little bit wrong on here, but it's all good. It's kind of funny. So essentially, you can see the entire tale of the tape as it pertains to the matchups for the day. So we're going to be having 10 matchups in total. 1v1s count for 1 point, 2v2s count for 2, and the dreaded 3v3 at the very end will count for 3, which is very exciting because if you have a very close faction war, you can be behind by like 2 points, have lost a couple 1v1s, and then the 3v3 just kind of swoops in and gets you back in the event. So very excited for this. Very excited indeed. Let's go ahead and get into the first match and see who's going to be drawing first blood in today's faction war. So here we go. Let's do it to it. And tell the lads we are ready. There we go. Perfect. We got a donation coming in right away from Ivan. Ivan, thank you so much for the $50. Goddamn, Joe Rogan. That's very generous of you. Thank you so much. And we'll be kicking this one off with an Empire versus Chaos Showdown, one of my favorite matchups in the entire game. You can certainly go a couple different directions. Empire can play these very kite-centric builds if they want to. They can use Outriders and Pistoliers and Mobility. Or they can go Fisticuffs if they want. Have a very static position with Halberds and Greatswords and, various other buffs from Volkmar to really stack up those troops. A lot of cool ways to play this matchup. I think it's one of the ones that always comes down to a very close fight. And it's neat to see the Empire infantry trying to hold back, the hordes of chaos that, of course, do have a bit of an advantage in the front line. So, yes, Flying Taco, let it release them. Here we go. So I am going to be casting one group stage of this event. There are 4 groups in total, and the winners, and of course, of those respective groups will be advancing on. But in my group stage, we do have Clan BBB, we have ODM, and we have Sons of the Mountain. The other clans are going to be casted, the other groups are going to be casted by various other individuals in the community. My son Herbert Walker, Balkanos. I'm not sure if Dov is doing one. I'm not quite sure. I didn't look at the entire roster, but as soon as we finish today's stream and I get the information, I'll put it in the description below so you guys can follow this tournament and see who's going to be your jam. Nickelback, looking at this photograph, he says, glad I caught the stream a bit before I have to sleep. Do you have any plans on One Army tournaments in the near future? Yeah, I do. More so for 2v2. Because that's going to be a weekly series for 2v2. So that is the game plan. All right. Here we go. So taking a look here at the Dark Hordes of Chaos. We have Chaos Feral Mancores. And, double Manticore is very, very common. They're just very cost-effective monsters for 800 gold, right? Like 1 or 2 attacks from a Manticore on top of like a squishy, caster can absolutely change the outcome of the game. So we got 2 of those bad boys. Archeon the Everchosen frontline is going to be kind of cheap. And this is kind of an interesting principle as well. What I often see is that Chaos will go Marauder heavy. And then sometimes as an Empire player, if you bring like some great swords, they're just not ready for it, right? Because they just go all these cheap Marauders. But that is why Razel has mixed in some Chaos Marauder great weapons to get a little bit of punch there, which I do indeed like. So it's basically just cheap chaff infantry with some Forsaken on the wings and also some of the backfield. I do like Forsaken a lot in this matchup. Very good, very mobile, can really pressure the Empire army. And one of the better troops in the roster for actually tearing apart state troopers. 60 weapon strength, just absolutely mulches the light armored swordsman. Marauder horsemen into the sunset, Manticores and Archeon. So yeah, pretty solid build for sure. A lot of horsemen. It looks like 6 in total. I believe some of them are horse masters, the horse masters of Rohan. And for the Empire, going to be going for a more static build. They do have the Flagellants backed up by some handgunners and some huntsmen as well. So a fair amount of firepower with a single cannon looking to maybe shoot Manticores or Archie. And I think there are some Outriders here. Outriders are going to be a little bit problematic without support. Oftentimes, if you are going to be seeing Outriders, they are backed up by Pistoliers or Heavy Cavalry. Otherwise, Marauder Horsemen can kind of bully them, because the problem with Outriders is they can't run and shoot. So if they have to run from something like Marauder Horsemen, they're just going to be kind of ineffective. But we'll see. You can also use the Outriders as like handgunners if you want to. You can park them in the middle of your army and basically just sit there and shoot. And Balthazar Gelt has become a little bit meta for the Empire lately because of the bug that makes AoE just like exponentially more effective. So it's pretty cool. Very excited for this. No need to wait. Another interesting fact about this particular fight, both of these players have qualified for tomorrow's faction war. So tomorrow we're having the big epic faction war. Razel over here, who is playing the forces of the Dark Gods, has qualified for the Beastmen, and Grombrindle, of course, you know, as the name would infer, has qualified for the forces of the Dwarves. So both of those bad boys are going to be competing tomorrow. Faction war tomorrow, clan war today. It's going to be a pretty wild and fun weekend. Looking forward to seeing you guys. So the Hordes of Chaos do advance on the Sons of Sigmar, getting forward. Flagellants have an okay trade against Marauders. It's not the worst thing in the world for sure. Outriders do have superior range, so they should be able to rip a couple of volleys, but this is where things can get a little bit spicy for them, as they're going to have to turn and run. 90 speed against 84, so if Marauder Horsemen really got that full shove, that full hard-on, you know, they can really get in there and pursue them pretty aggressively. But I would imagine that the Empire probably will simply fall back to its infantry lines. And is there any good quality? We do have swordsmen, so more so just going through, like, you know, letting the bodies hit the floor, the attrition get in there, and just kind of grind them to dust. So we'll see how this goes. Gelt popping Arcane Conduit. If you are a Balthazar Gelt player, that's typically what you want to do. You want to pop the Conduit to get to 30 wins and save the staff for after you cast your first spell. Once you do that, you can live long and prosper and really get the multiple final transmutations. So here are the handgunners, a nice little opening pocket here with the classic pike and shot formation, blasting into the Chaos Marauders as they do advance here. But the Chaos Marauders are shielded. They don't really give a shit about arrows. And hopefully for Grombrindle's sake, maybe he's a little bit too used to playing Dwarves here. He does get some counter charges here in the front line, and he does get the counter charge here. He did miss this one, but that's not the biggest deal in the world. And the Flagellants should have a pretty good trade. Their leadership usually gives them the edge in a lot of these like chaff-centric fights in the front line. So now the Huntsman units trying to shoot the Horsemen, which is a good call. You got to wear them down. And Forsaken trying to squeak their way through the flanks. But the Handgunners of Sigmar unleashing their full payload into the faces here of these Forsaken. And I think the combined forces of State Troopers there should be able to win it. Now, an Ice Burning Head coming in from Archeon, but a beautiful dodge coming in from Grombrindle. He pulls back and mitigates that almost that entire spell. And you have to be so quick to dodge that. You know, living factions can usually, like Tomb Kings can't because their troops are a little bit slower, but nonetheless, and Archeon getting pounded as well. A beautiful final transmutation. Balthazar Gelt cackling in a stallion as he turns Archeon to, partially turns him to gold and also rampages that Manticore. So far, some really smooth play going on there, but the Outriders are a little bit vulnerable here, and also Forsaken are going to be collapsing around the flanks. Forsaken will trade relatively well against Halberds. The Halberds should be cut apart. I mean, in this 2v1, Forsaken will lose. And a nice slip here by Razel. So Razel finds a little bit of an opening in the armor, gets back there on top of some handgunners, and is certainly feeling good about that. But the Manticore is rampaging into Halberds, going to be rough. The cannon is still online and shooting, but Archeon has gotten into the battle lines, and you have to remember, the Empire army does not have like just a balls-deep combat lord like Karl Franz or Boris Todbringer or Volkmar. It's Gelt. So yeah, he'll get his value for magic, but if he isn't able to finish off Archeon and it does kind of devolve into a late-game brawl, it could be very problematic. And, honestly, I think Chaos is doing a good job getting back in the game. They were obviously behind a little bit in the initial engagements, but here the Hammer of the Witches is getting just run down by the Marauder Horsemen. The Manticore actually effectively rampaging and terror-routing those Halberds. Very surprising. Huntsmen are being compromised, and a lot of the Empire army is definitely taking a bit of a beating. So we'll see if Balthazar Gelt can get the game back, because it looks like Razel may potentially be seeking to draw First Blood, not only for Khorne, but also for ODM. So we will see. Burning Head going down here on Sigmar Sons. A beautiful cast, a high-value target. Sigmar Sons probably won't be able to beat these Forsaken now. It depends if the Forsaken actually attack them or try and run past them, but it looks like they're just being cut apart. And honestly, I think Chaos has kind of taken over this game. Really just getting into the formation. And that was my one critique of Grombrindle's build. It was too much of like a dwarf build. It didn't have like heavy cavalry. Like Knights of the Blazing Sun are excellent in this matchup. For example, all the Marauders and Forsaken just get annihilated by them. And you can really plug the openings in your back line with heavy cavalry, or even like Empire Knights, just like roadblocks, to allow your Huntsmen and other assets to shoot. But in this case, he had a good initial fight, some really good initial engagements for Grombrindle here, but in the end, I just don't think he had the mass to stop a lot of the Chaos harass. Like random Marauder Horsemen were just kind of squeaking in there and causing problems, and a simple, Empire Knight could have easily stopped that up, allowing your handgunners to shoot longer, your Huntsmen to shoot longer, and that makes a big difference. But yeah, I think the Empire's out of the picture now. Balance of power Doesn't look as bad as you would think, but it actually is pretty bad. You know, Chaos is rampaging all over the battlefield. Archaon's got the full chub for the Dark Gods, just having a lot of fun. And Huntsmen, Cannon Crews, it's basically just some State Troopers, and like a Burning Head is going to be able to absolutely eviscerate them. And so too will the Marauder Horseman Corps, because Halberds are very weak against missile play. Only 30 armor, no missile resist of any sort. They can't, you know, twirl their halberds in a windmill and formation and deflect the arrows like the Swordmasters of Hoth can. And, you know, Balthazar Gelt going out like a true man of the Empire, getting in there and going to do battle here with Archaon the Everchosen, who does happen to have Slayer of Kings. But Gelt quickly realizes the folly of his ways, but not before it's too late. And the Hordes of Chaos do surround him, and Archaon should be able to get some damage on Gelt here. It depends. Quicksilver is a mighty steed indeed, and might be able to slip away. But in this case, Halberdiers and Flagellants going to be trying to get in there to help, but there is just too many Chaos monsters and characters. Now, what Grombrindle is trying to do now, it might look like it's a foolish, like, kind of playful ending way to do this, but he's basically trying to blob up his opponent to get one big final transmutation, one last hope for the old world. But alas, Gelt is going to get karate chopped. Steven Seagal, I guess wrist break as he does in his movies, and it is going to be the end for Balthazar Gelt. GG, well played. So that is going to be first blood being drawn for ODM against the Sons of the Mountain. We will see if ODM will continue their reign here, or if the Sons of the Mountain in the next match of the day will be coming back. The last of the Flagellants fighting. GG, well played. And there you go. That was a very dwarf Empire build, for sure. That was a very, very dwarvish Empire game. Yeah. So the way it works today, I believe they pre-arranged their matches. I'm not quite sure. Or they were either blind picks. Now, I really liked the initial Gelt play, had some good value. The Outriders were very, very weak, though. Like, without the proper support, they just get routed down by Marauder Horsemasters. I have played this matchup probably a million times. And I'm an Empire main. And this, like, if you don't have the support for the Outriders or like some heavy cavalry to mitigate their effectiveness, you're just generally going to lose in my experience. But that's just my playstyle. There are other Empire playstyles that can play more static, but I think you just need a little something to, you know, tickle that pickle. So we will now switch on over and update these scorecards for today's Classic Clan War here in the Clan War Cup. So let's go to my fancy Excel sheet. Check this out. The power of technology. I enter the 1. And it goes, and then we'll also fill in the green so you guys can kind of keep track on things. So green will indicate the winner, and the score is reflected here on the bottom. Taking me back to 2014 when I used to have to use these spreadsheets for my old job. So next up, we have Predator versus Super Munchkin. That is going to be our next duel of the day. So let me go ahead and find those fine gentlemen and make sure they need to add me on Steam or something. Oh, yeah, looks like they do. All right, so there's Super Munchkin, and there's the Predator. Got them both added. Now we can get this next game started. Cool. Good luck, have fun to all the players. The map for the next round is going to be a 1v1 map on Galbaraz, one of the most commonly used tournament maps. And there we go. I'm surprised we haven't seen Dwarves out of Sons of the Mountain yet. Maybe that's their ace in the sleeve to save here. But let us know in chat, who are you guys rooting for? Are you rooting for the Sons of the Mountain or ODM? Oh, no worries. Yeah, no, the game is total. I mean, yeah, he won the game. It's fine. I know he may have crashed, but not a problem. Perhaps today, if we have a little bit of downtime, we'll do some predictions on who would win in various fictional fights. I know you guys enjoyed this. Yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time. So just getting the setup right now. Looks like it's going to be Predator versus Super Munchkin unless something changed. Let me go ahead and check and see if there are any updates. All right, looks good. Perfect. Yeah, seems fine. All right. I added the Super Munchkin. Should be able to see it now. All right. Just messaging the players. And I'm going to go ahead and add everyone that is not currently on my friends list. Hopefully the Steam. I hate the Steam limits. And you have to like do all these like Steam cards and things like that. And I'm such a caveman when it comes to technology. It's weird. Like I work more or less with like technology and broadcast software, but I'm just such a potato, you know? It's so frustrating. That was a good first game though, for sure. So now we are getting into the next match. I will update the scorecards here. So let's go ahead and head on over to the main battle screen. We have Predator joining from the Sons of the Mountain versus the Super Munchkin. So who will win this duel? We'll find out here on the next episode. So just got to update the nameplates and we'll be all set. So this is going to be the Predator. Just rocking his dreadlocks and his futuristic weapons. Man, the Predator is such a cool character. Aren't they doing another movie with that soon? Aren't they doing like the 100th installment of that? Super Munchkin. Let's even get it to fit. Look at that. Press a button. Super Munchkin's name is too powerful. Too powerful to be left alive. There we go. All right. Excellent. So now we're just hanging tight. Looks like they more or less might have their builds ready. We'll find out. And Alexander, thank you so much for the 50 bucks or pounds or euros. Can't quite see from here. My second monitor is a little bit far away. Hey, Turin, looking forward to Warhammer 3. News will come our way. Yeah, hopefully we'll get some news soon when CA is back from their time of silence. Hope everything hope everyone that's watching too is having a good time. Well, right on. Appreciate that. The pre-order faction, it's got to be Ogre Kingdoms, right? I mean, come on. We already have some models in the game and things like that. So, yeah. So this is going to be Tomb Kings versus Wood Elves. It's kind of an interesting one. I always felt like this matchup was quite even, but I've talked to some Tomb Kings and Wood Elves players who don't like it from both sides, which is pretty interesting. As a matter of fact, in my faction war, the way it works is I allow players in the faction war before I make the brackets to ban 2 factions. And then I basically make sure they don't get them at least in the first round. And I believe our Wood Elf player playing did ban the Tomb Kings. Or was it the other way around? Regardless, there's a bit of an interesting paradigm here in this matchup. Yeah, so no release news on Warhammer 3. No. We don't have a date yet. I know that Age of Empires 4, which is something I'll be covering profusely on this channel, will be coming out on October 28th. So regardless, we'll have some fresh content coming in that regard. And let's see what the players say. No questions, just building their armies. No rush here. And we'll be all set. We will be all set. So just got to go through my friends list and make some room so we can make sure to add all of the glorious champions from today's event. I'm pretty excited for Age of Empires 4. Oh God, which AVP film was there where the alien got... Oh yeah, Quintus. Yeah, that one was pretty ridiculous, yeah. I enjoyed those movies. They're really campy and like haggard, but like, I still enjoyed the Alien vs Predator movies. I felt like they were just fun, Lady Turin like hates them. Because she's like, if you ask Anna, my lovely wife, what her favorite films are, Alien is hands down up there, right? And then like to have like such a masterpiece of like science fiction horror, like be like just haggardly implemented into like AVP where they're just like WWE monsters. Like there's like a scene when the Predator like grabs the alien's tail and is like swinging it in circles, and it's just like, oh my God, it's just so corny. I love it though, that's like right up my alley. But yeah, it's pretty hilarious. Pretty hilarious for sure. Those were some magical times. I think that came out when I was in high school too. That was the days of old. Aging myself here. The scorecard needs updating. Oh, I didn't hit the update button. It should be fine. Yeah. Oh, well, the scores. So yeah, I'm not keeping track of the score here. So actually, as a matter of fact, can I just get rid of this and this? Yeah, perfect. So I'm keeping track of the score on a separate document, Vicious Satsuma. So if I jump on over here, that name needs to be fixed a little bit. But yeah, if I jump over here, you can see the score. You can see all here. So I'm doing it on this document. So currently ODM has 1, and you can see the winner is marked up top. And on the battle scorecards, I'm just going to be having the names of the players. So hopefully that'll be okay for you guys. God damn. I need to like have a more optimal system for this. It's so annoying. God, if anybody has any suggestions for like software I could use. We try. Nermy the Nerm, thank you for the tenor, for the great maw and the fire mouth. I actually got wrecked by Ogre Kingdoms on tabletop the other day. It was pretty fun. I mean, it was a close game. Came down to like 1 or 2 points, but the dreaded Ogre Kingdoms were able to give me a problem. Nermy, thank you so much. He had a cool army. He had a bunch of like these huge cavalry guys, and then these ogre dudes with like meat cleavers. Yeah, it was I didn't know a lot of the units. I don't know Ogre Kingdoms that well, and I was like charging them with Demogryph Knights. It was really badass. Really fun. Predator just checking a rule here. Getting it going. We'll see what schemes they have. Wood Elves, I wonder if we'll see... Sometimes you see like Casket of Souls. What's nice for Tomb Kings here is that your infantry can be a little bit more respectable. Wood Elves don't have access to fire magic, so you're able to kind of sit and just enjoy your best life. Unlike you are in other matchups versus like Empire and Chaos where you're constantly on edge. Like, oh God, there's going to be another burning head. Anakin, I'm too weak. Under Siege and Air Force One are on Netflix, just saying. Yeah, so Evan, I actually watched them recently. Well, one of them. I watched Under Siege on the plane when I was flying to Poland recently. So I did get down with the Steven Seagal action, which is always fun. That was a theoretical discussion I wanted to have pertaining to Steven Seagal versus Van Damme. Maybe we'll save it for another stream. I feel like today we should focus more on the clan war instead of just like nonsense like we do on most streams. Personally, though, my snap decision, I think that Van Damme, like if they're both in their prime, would definitely take down Steven Seagal. Yeah. That's just my 2 cents, though. I have a lot of reasons for it, but, you know, we're going to be focusing here on this battle. So, Wood Elves versus Tomb Kings. Are we going to see like triple Waywatcher, just trying to goon out the bigger threats and then having some anti-cavalry via like War Dancers and Dryads? Lots of cool ways to play this, for sure. It's a fun matchup. I actually like it. I definitely like it. Yeah, Under Siege is a really fun movie. Yeah, I mean, it's one of the better ones. Above the Law with Steven Seagal is pretty fun. And I mean, look, Steven Seagal, in case you guys don't know, he's still very active. He's constantly just putting out these like just absolute dog shit movies now. Just like terrible. Where his like character never walks more than like 5 paces because he's so obese. And he just like sits in chairs with like sniper rifles or like, you know, stands while he like, you know. It's just the most absurd stuff. Yeah, the most absurd stuff for sure. All right, so here we are in the battle. We have the forces of the Sons of the Mountain. They are down a game, so certainly an important one for morale. Going to be trying to get back on the board here. We do have the Sisters of Twilight, and Sisters are a cool unit because they pretty much always get their value back, like more or less, right? Like they generally get like 1,800, 2,000 to 2,400 value. So they're pretty safe, right? You just look at the enemy lord, you breathe heavily out of your mouth, and you just shoot at them, and that's what you do. We got the Lost Sylvan Knights, and Tomb Kings have some magic damage, but I think this is a nice X-Factor pick. Really effective at chasing down Ushapti Greatbows, blocking up chariots. I love the Lost Sylvan Knight pick here from Predator. We got Aerial as well. This very much looks like a DLC launch build. Like back then, this was very common. Aerial, you use Berry Wine to heal up the Lost Sylvan Knights, just like a big free, chubby regrowth on those guys, right? But aside from that, some Dryads, some Cavalry, a couple Waywatchers, not much of a commitment in terms of frontline fighting, a lot of expensive units. So this is, I suppose you could say, a very elite Wood Elf army, so it should be pretty interesting for sure. Now, looking here at ye old forces of the Bone Daddies, we have one Ushapti Greatbow, which is nice, not going too heavy into it. Skeleton Chariots to try and bunker bust, and so they can counter rushes, and they can also pressure, missile-based builds. So I do like the Mass Chariot play with a ton of horsemen, a ton of Nehekar horsemen here for Super Munchkin, and we do also have Setra the Imperishable back here. We'll see if his expiration date is here, or if he will continue his legacy of being imperishable. Yes, I agree with you, Jay Phoenix. I think this Wood Elf build definitely looks like it's straight out of the last patch, because back then, Ariel actually used to be unbreakable. She could just sit there and wave her little fairy wings around and just basically cast Soul Stealers on top of herself. And I believe it actually worked back then. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's actually bugged now, and her Soul Stealer doesn't even heal herself, which is so haggard. But, you know, it is what it is. You can't have everything in this game, I suppose. There are some issues. There are some issues for sure. So Glade Riders, pretty decent. I'm curious about the trade between Glade Riders and Nehekar Horsemen. I think the Undead Horsemen have the edge in the fighting, but they obviously lack the mobility, comparatively speaking. So 78 compared to, 94 in speed? Stat line 30, 32, 27 compared to... It's not that different, but the weapon strength is so much better on the Horsemen. And of course, they're not going to break. So it's a little bit of a tricky fight. I suppose it depends on who gets the charge too, because there's a big charge bonus on these Glade Riders. So with better speed, they can often dictate the charge, and that can really, dictate the initial pacing of that fight. So pretty cool stuff. Yes, it used to work. I mean, I remember when the Wood Elf patch came out, I actually really enjoyed that patch. That was probably some of the most fun I had in multiplayer in quite some time. Like, I loved the Skaven units. Throt was a little bit gnarly at first. He was a little bit overtuned in some ways, some of the Skaven stuff, but they got nerfed and it was fine. But I really enjoyed the Wood Elves. Yeah, Ariel was cool. Mel Gibson was very overpowered back then, with his Cloak of Isha giving an extra, I believe, 10% ward save. Like, he was just such a raid boss to kill. He got nerfed as well. I can't remember if it was physical resist or something, but nonetheless, he did get nerfed. Yeah. So let us know your prediction. Are you rooting for the Sons of the Mountain and Predator here, or are you rooting for the Bone Daddies? No need to wait for me. By the way, so if you're playing in today's event, once you load into the match, there's no need to wait for me at all. You could just start the battle whenever your armies are set up, because we are good to go. Yes, yes. So the forces of the Tomb Kings stand ready. Massive cavalry corps coming in. I love the Skeleton Horseman Archers. It's a really, really cheap, cost-effective pick, in my opinion, against a Wood Elf army. Because, though the Wood Elves can kill them with bows, they don't want to be wasting ammo. The Waywatchers are going to have their hands full, too. I mean, Setra is a good target, of course, but the Chariots... Our OK targets, yeah, there's not like those Way Watchers really are going to have to do a ton of work. And the Sisters of Twilight immediately shooting into your boy Cetra here. And a little bit of an unfortunate miss. And it looks like Arrows of Kernus also going into the Ushapti Great Bows. Nice juking coming in from Predator. He's basically just flying back and forth and, avoiding some of the shots. And it looks like these Sisters are going to be sitting and shooting at the Nehekara Horsemen, perhaps. So with the Sisters, I would honestly either shoot at the Ushapti Great Bows or I would shoot at Cetra. I think just using all of your ammunition in a very focused manner on those targets probably would be more of a prudent decision. So we'll have to see. Scooting up here are the Way Watchers. Way Watchers getting a nice volley into the static chariots who are currently sitting and, role-playing Steven Seagal here, sitting in their chairs we talked about in chat. Getting blasted. 4,100, down another 400 HP. So that's good value from the Way Watchers. Chariots aren't a super cheap unit. I believe they cost 800, the basic skeleton chariots, and the archer variants cost, I think, like 900 or 950 or something like that. So shooting the basic chariots here, I think, is quite strong. Just want to make sure you're not shooting skeleton warriors and things like that. This Wood Elf army, though, in a very, very defensive position here. The Lost Sylvan Knights and some Dryads kind of hanging out by the tree line. The Sylvan Knights are still hidden, so they're not really here. And unfortunately here, it looks like Predator will be sacrificing one of the Glade Riders. So they're going to get absolutely rode down by the skeleton chariots. And that's basically 550 gold that was just given to the Tomb Kings for free. I mean, it was a bit of a distraction, and it looks like there's going to be a nice Soul Stealer here in terms of damage. It's going to hit a ton of shit. That's really, really nice. But yeah, if you lose your Way Watchers here to just like some cavalry and things like that, you're probably just going to lose the game outright. But that Soul Stealer was really good, and the Lost Sylvan Knights are getting a ton of value charging in here and wrecking these horsemen. But we will see if the Way Watchers get stabilized. It looks like they will. The chariots got picked off by the Way Watchers who are running and doing their 360 shots. And the Nehekara Horsemen are going to be getting pounded as well. So very effective play here so far from Predator on this side. I thought it might be a little bit of an issue, but he has pulled back effectively. Only really has lost one Glade Rider unit with that initial sacrifice, which appears to have been worth it. It did seem to occupy a lot of that force. And the Wood Elves did pull ahead a little bit. So I'm liking this elite build. And there goes the Awakening of the Wood via the Acorn of the Ages coming in from Ariel there. And is able to, pop up and awaken some of the bony wood back there. Lost Sylvan Knights seem to be a big problem. It doesn't seem like the Tomb Kings have like any magic damage on their entire roster. So I really like that X-Factor pick. I mean, Cetra does a little bit, I think, with that AoE explosion, but a good berry wine, just feed them some of that sweet, sweet wine, and those bad boys will be back in shape relatively soon. They've only lost one model, and I mean, they're more or less full health. They're perfect vigor here. Of course, the berry wine does imbue vigor. And it looks like some skeletons are trying to get past, but there are a lot of idle units back here. I think some of the skeleton horseman archers need to be enveloping as well. And in the back as well from Super Munchkin, we do have some tactical reserves, which is a little bit unfortunate for them. There are some horsemen, which there's nothing back here defending. Like, if these horsemen had been pressuring at the same time, and these horsemen obviously doing a good job can now press in, there could be a full sandwich. And these Way Watchers could pay the price, but we will see. So far, it looks like it's mostly the Lost Sylvan Knights hard carrying this game. There's not magic damage for them, and they're just bullying Cetra here. Cetra also gets hit with the Soul Stealer, and the Sisters of Twilight are just bombing up from the sky. A really, really cool Wood Elf build. I'm definitely digging it. It's very, very different, and it does indeed look like it's straight out of the last patch. Now, finally, a nice pressure piece coming in from Super Munchkin. He gets in the backfield and starts hammering into the Way Watchers with a couple of groups of Nehekara horsemen. And again, if he had this extra unit of horsemen, these Way Watchers would probably be dead right now. The other ones might potentially be dead as well, and the Bounce Fire might be dead even. So just a slight mistake in terms of tactical reserves. Of course, it's all part of the great plan. That's my excuse when I use units like that. Ariel's going to be somewhat tough to kill. You know, Homeboy Cetra is quite low. If the Sisters just get back up in the sky, they just whip out them fat bows and they just start shooting into Cetra, that more or less would probably lead to the end of the game. Because from there, Ariel just sitting there with her Soul Stealers, I don't know how many she has left, but it would be very, very problematic. But Lost Sylvan Knights probably have accrued well over 2,000 value now, piling in. Ushapti Summon coming in, and this is a good play as well from the Super Munchkin. Basically just a big Alpha Strike here on these units, trying to burn through that Ethereal. Apotheosis, I believe, is a spell that Ariel did bring, and nice evasion right there, getting away from the Ushapti Summon, and just trying to protect these Way Watchers. But now the Bounce Fire has crept back into the middle, and just like we talked about, imagine if these tactical reserves had been used earlier. It could have been a very Tomb King's favorite game, right? But the combination of the Ushapti Summon plus the compromising of the archers back here, finally, is going to be leading to a very, very even balance of power. Cetra holding on pretty firm. 2,600 HP, only takes about 100 damage there. Ariel going to be flying in and looking to drop his Soul Stealer, which is going to be a nice one. If it hits Cetra, it hits these horsemen. It looks like some of the other horsemen going to be moving in. Thankfully, the bug doesn't matter here, so like the fact that she's not being healed doesn't really have much weight to it. The Waystalker in the backfield being run over by a chariot. We'll see if it can win against those chariots. If that Waystalker wins back there, that's actually a surprisingly important play, because the Waystalker could then sit and maybe finish off Cetra, who is very low. But the Narrows Incantation of Protection, keeping that bad boy going, keeping him from expiring in your refrigerator. So there's his physical resist. Looks like another Acorn of the Ages is going to be going down, popping the very blobbed up Tomb King's force. Tomb Kings actually do pull ahead in the balance of power, despite the tactical reserves for a long period of time. It's some very, very solid play here from Super Munchkin. However, when the Ushabti summon does disappear here in a moment, that is going to be kind of sending the bounce power back to the middle. And also, Ariel isn't unbreakable anymore, so these archers can actually break her. Maybe something needs to be done to shut down the Ushabti Great Bow, but I don't think the Wood Elves really have any tools. It looks like a missed shot coming in from the Sisters, or a partial hit. They have 2 volleys left. Probably what you do is you finish off Cetra, and then you go and dive on the Ushabti Great Bow here. That's probably the right play. Or maybe you just do that now, because I think if Ariel breaks, you probably just lose the game. And if she has another Soul Stealer, maybe. Looks like the birds are going to get in there and going to be pecking Cetra in the back. It looks like the attack, that kind of hit, but it only did like 80 damage or something like that. I guess Cetra is like super heavily armored, but yeah, you'd think it would do a little bit more. Horseman moving in as well. Cetra does get popped. He's down to 120. You know, oh, but the birds, the Sisters of the Twilight getting served up. The goose is cooked. And the Sister is going to be running off the edge of the battlefield as the Skeleton Horseman archers escort them back to Athel Loren. And Cetra living, oh no, and he gets sniped by the Waystalker. So now we have just an absolute magic-based game. Does Ariel have enough for another Soul Stealer? If so, God, that's so lame though, because like, right, if you had that healing, it could potentially be game-winning for the Wood Elf player. But in this case, without it actually healing Ariel, it's going to be tough. What's funny about her though, she has like weird animations where she's constantly flying and getting knocked over. So like a lot of the Ushabti Great Bow shots are probably missing. But I think the Tomb Kings are probably going to just barely edge this one out unless there is a big Soul Stealer very soon. As far as bound spells, I mean, we got Apotheosis. We haven't really seen that being used this game, but Apotheosis would be pretty cute. But the Waystalker just gets absolutely rode down. Waystalkers are just not that proficient at being swarmed. They're good one-on-one duelists, but if they are being, you know, hounded and harassed by a ton of cavalry or cheap chaff units, they typically break pretty darn quick in my experience. So, yeah, Cetra was a beast this game. I mean, he endured. He took a lot of ammo right in the face. If Ariel was still unbreakable, you know, I might have some hope here for the hardwood. But due to the fact that they nerfed her and she's not unbreakable anymore, which is kind of strange, I feel like she would be unbreakable. Like, Orion is unbreakable. Why is Ariel not unbreakable? I know it's like, you know, a balance thing, but I felt like they should have like kept it that way and maybe like tuned her in some other ways, because I thought that was kind of a cool thematic thing to have, like, you know, the 2 demigods of the forest being these unbreakable entities of just the wrath of nature, right? But rather they're just kind of, you know, they're not what they once were. And there you have it. A nice comeback by Super Munchkin despite the tactical reserves and a couple misplays early. Predator went off to a very early lead. The Waywatchers and the Stag Knights, only 1,500 value, but still, they were very good. Very, very nice early game here from Predator, doing his clan proud for sure. So hold your head up high, brother. It was a good game. But the Super Munchkin and his pressure and his swarming build, his build was very fine-tuned, and it was quite strong indeed. And that often is the case with a lot of ODM builds. They're very fine-tuned. They certainly practice them quite a bit, and I thought it was quite cool to see. So now we will load on over and update the most powerful scoreboard you have ever seen. So there we are. ODM is going to be going up 2-0 here in the series, and we have a victory for the Super Munchkin. Now, this is an important one. This is a very important one for the Sons of the Mountain. They are now going to be playing a 2v2. It's Garam Brindle and Predator facing off against Call Harmon and Loopy, and like, losing this one is pretty rough, because then you're going to go down 4-0, but winning it, and suddenly the clan war is tied up at 2-2, and we got a pretty even, you know, knockdown, drag-out fight on our hands. So let's get the next lobby all set up for you fine folks. Here we are. And making some space for the next players. Let's go ahead and double-check the map. Map is going to be the Cliff of Beasts, a relatively flat map. I think it's an underrated map. Someday I still will pursue the idea of having fan-made maps added into the game. I'm going to try and work with CA on that, but of course right now it's a little bit tricky before we get to Game 3 and all that. But I think once Game 3 comes out, I think that might potentially be a good idea. Yeah, I'm surprised the Tomb Kings brought that back. It was looking pretty grim bones for them for a while, so we'll update these score plates now. So the Sons of the Mountain will be on one side, and we will have ODM on the other side. Look at that. All right, so switching back over to the main screen, just got to fix these plates and we're all set. Joe Leonard, hey Turin, thanks for all the Total War content. What are your thoughts on Total War Troy? I don't really have any interest in it, to be honest. I don't like the Saga games. I just, I would rather the resources were put into the major titles. But I understand it, you know, it's like, if you you have a big enough team to work on multiple things. But I don't know. I don't like the Saga games, mainly because I feel like the battles just aren't that good compared to Warhammer, and the multiplayer also isn't like a thing in those games. I don't think anybody really even plays multiplayer, so that's like a big part of it for me. Yeah. So this is a big one. The Sons of the Mountain really need to get this back. They're down 0-2. Not the end of the world. The 3v3 still at the end, but you know, ODM is a very scary foe. They have a lot of really strong players. So this is going to be a very important one to get back here. And, you know, we obviously just saw Predator play. He played a great game. And Grombrindle, of course, is a very strong tournament player as well. This is a good opportunity for them to get back here and go from there. In this format, Samurai Warrior says, oh, you're answering a question. Yes. Yeah, the Soul Stealer bug's a little bit unfortunate. But it didn't matter that last game because she didn't even cast a Soul Stealer when she was hurt. She always cast him from full health. So it didn't come into play. But make sure the funds are 10,000. Ah, yes, that's right. Custom funds. Not 100,000. 1, 2, 3. Cool. All right. Done. So that's right. They're doing custom funds for today's event, which maybe I should do for my 2v2 tournament. We'll see. Yeah, so for anybody who's wanting to get involved in clans and tournaments and all sorts of cool stuff like that, if you join up in my Discord, we have resources for all of that. There's a section that you can see different clans and you can, you know, find their contacts and reach out. And of course, if you want to participate in any community tournaments we hold, all you have to do is just wait for my notifications and sign up. It's very straightforward. So yeah, we'll be dropping links. If any mods want to drop a link right now, that would be greatly appreciated. But nonetheless, thank you for coming. No dwarves yet from the Sons of the Mountain. Yeah, not yet. It looks like they're facing off against them. So basically for Grombrindle and Predator, it's going to be nice. I'm happy it turned out this way. We basically have the living versus the dead. So it's going to be Grombrindle on Tomb Kings and Predator on Vampire Counts to get those sweet heals for the Tomb Kings. And it's going to be Dwarves and Wood Elves. So the alliance of old, basically. The Dwarves and Elves used to be friends way back when. They were a pretty powerful alliance. And of course, the cursed Elves had to ruin everything, as they usually do. Their arrogance and, you know, you can see I have a little bit of bias here. I'm a big Dwarf fan, so. Thank you, Misha. Greatly appreciate that. Misha handling business as always. Showing no mercy. So looking here, one team is ready. We've seen, we actually had our 2v2 tournament a couple days ago, so you guys are probably relatively used to seeing this this type of format, right? The undead power team, very classic 2v2 combination. A lot of healing, a lot of unbreakable units. It's very strong. But dwarves are very resilient against undead. They can hold, and wood elves are actually quite good against undead too. So I think that, you know, both teams certainly have their strengths and weaknesses. Yes. Thank you, Samurai Warrior. Greatly appreciated. Dwarven propaganda. Yeah, I'm a little bit biased. Dwarves are definitely some of my favorites. You know, I'm trying to decide when the old world eventually comes back in tabletop. I can't quite decide on what faction I want to play. You know, like I know they're going to be launching with Kislev, but I feel like everyone and their dog and you know their hamsters and their moms and grandpas are going to be playing Kislev because they'll be like the new model range. Part of me, I already have an Empire tabletop army, a Sigmarite army. Part of me wants to maybe play against or play the dwarves when old world comes back. Part of me just wants to like breathe heavily out of my mouth and like sit with a box around a bunch of cannons and just be like, all right, you do all the movement and measuring. I'm just gonna sit here and mouth breathe, you know. And like dwarven, I really like painting dwarf models too. They're pretty damn cool. Hey, Quaden, thank you for the 594. Who hit the dislike button? Corn will find you and punish you. Thank you so much, Quaden. Really appreciate that. And hey, well played in the 2v2 tournament the other day. It was quite a bit of fun having you, my friend. Thank you so much for the fiver. I already play Empire. I already have Empire. Yeah, Dimitri, I'm streaming earlier because I was in Poland and I came back and like I just got on this like pattern of waking up early and I've been staying on it, which is really nice. It's so much better than sleeping until like 11 or noon and just being a potato and then streaming at like 2 p.m. Because then you still have like the rest of your day, you know? Yeah. We will see. We will see indeed. Yeah, I mean, I have, in terms of 40k, I have several armies. I have Chaos Space Marines and I have Death Guard. Like, full armies of both. Like, I probably have like 3,000 or 4,000 points of each of them. So I can like field Chaos Space Marine and Death Guard armies like pretty effectively. And then for Fantasy and Age of Sigmar, I just have an Empire army at the moment. So I'm thinking of a Dwarf army, though, because I really like Ironbreaker models. I really like the Iron Drakes. Like, the Dwarf models held up really well to the test of time. But, you know, I want to wait and see in Old World, like, what lords they have for the Dwarves. And, like, because, you know, for me, a lot of it is based on, like, the characters. I have to really like the characters and the leaders of the army. So we'll see. We will see. Yeah, should be great. Basically, all the evidence that the Dark Elves are just trying to stir up a war is there, and they just ignore it out of arrogance. The Dawi even reach out and are ignored. Yeah, so it sounds like the High Elves are definitely at fault for things. Makes sense. So Samurai Warrior saying, presumably the Old World will come out near Warhammer 3. I do not think so, Samurai Warrior. I think it's further off. What they will do, though, most likely, is generally there are, like, synergistic, you know, marketing releases when there are titles for Total War. So when Old World, or when Warhammer 3 does eventually come out, hopefully later this year, but it could be obviously next year too, you never know. They'll probably do like a tease on the Old World, be like, hey, like, look at these models, like, coming in like a year from now or something, or here's like more lore updates on Old World about characters, and they'll do like something, but I think Old World will probably come out in 2023. Like, it'll be, yeah, 2023 would be my guess. Like, maybe like mid second quarter, something in that time frame. Hey, Shock Me saying, yeah, it's been a while. How you doing? Hope you're doing well. All right, so taking a look at the forces of the undead, let's go ahead and see what their general strategy is going to be. Screaming Meme Catapult. So actually a more defensive build. Triple Meme Catapult, double Ushopti Great Bow. Vargulf, and up in the sky, we do have Isabella von Karstein. So I'm curious if Predator here watched the 2v2 tournament we had on the channel the other day and saw how damn good Isabella von Karstein is in this, because basically she just gives those massive free heals to the Tomb King's characters, and then she can use the invocations on her own faction. Really, really powerful, honestly. I think Isabella probably is going to be a huge meta piece in the 2v2 matchups with, you know, this particular faction. So a shit ton of range for this army. Very, very defensive. Now, for the forces of ODM, it looks like it's a pretty aggressive build. Only one cannon. We do have Blade Singers and, like, Thunders to provide Overwatch support on the advance. Slayers, Wildwood Rangers, like, really, really the opposite of what you'd expect. You'd think these two would be sitting here with, like, Dwarves, like, you know, tanking while the Elven Bows shot or artillery shot or whatever, but it looks like it's going to be a rush coming in from ODM and a much more defensive build for the forces of the Sons of the Mountain. Yeah. We will see. We will see. Let us know your predictions. Who are you guys rooting for in chat? Do you seek a victory for ODM, or are you looking for the Sons of the Mountain to rise once more from the deep? Although they're not playing the Dwarves, so I'm a little bit confused. But it is what it is. Yeah, Guac. You know, it was so good in our 2v2 tournament, man. Like, I think the Blood Chalice of Bathorai heals like what 2,000 plus, and also like helps with vigor. Crazy good on like Cetra. And it looks like it's going to be Arkan, so it's not like a powerhouse character, but still, like, healing Arkan and or the Tomb Prince here, I think is very, very strong. Yeah, Doctor, I think Vampire Counts and Tomb Kings is a very common 2v2 strat, but in the past 2 or 3 2v2 tournaments I've had, the last one was more thematic, so, I mean, they haven't won. They've done well, but they have not won the event overall. Usually I've seen, like, it being won by Bretonnia, Dwarves, some of the combinations of Order Tide in my experience, but, yeah, we got some opinions in chat. Now, the Ushopti Great Bows, what are they going to be shooting? They have a couple of targets. You could honestly shoot into Giant Slayers. You could shoot into the Thunderers, snipe the Lords. Honestly, Thoric Ironbrow is also not a terrible target. If you want to get like both Ushopti Great Bow and just sit on Thoric the whole game, you could probably kill him pretty quick. The cannons are going to be returning fire, of course, into the Ushopti Great Bow, but in the Screaming Meme Catapults, what will they be shooting? I mean, a number of good targets. Thunders, cannons. I would just ignore the Dwarven Cannon, probably. Although it looks like they're really going in pretty hard for it, which I'm not sure if I agree with it. It's like a lot of resources, and due to the fact that you're being rushed. Ooh, look at that. Gaze of Nagash going in and pounding that Spellweaver in the face, while a Soul Quench goes in and hits some Skeleton Warriors and kind of tickles the pickle of a catapult. But honestly, the Soul Quench really didn't do much. Now, Apotheosis is going down here from Loopy. He's going to be pulling back as the Ushopti Great Bow continue to attempt to snipe this, and it looks like they do get the cannon, so they certainly made me eat my words. That appears to have been the right decision. The cannon is offline, the Ushopti Great Bow are here. I can admit when I'm wrong. It was a good choice. The Spirit Leech, of course, I think helped break them. I just didn't think the Dwarven crew would break that quickly. So now here in the front, Skeleton Warriors and I believe Graveguard in the third line. A lot of layers to this army, which I really like. And layers are excellent against rushes. If you could just like, you know, make them peel that onion and they have to cry every single, you know, onion they go through and take a little bit of damage, That's very, very strong. Now, AoE going to be going down in skeletons here. It looks like the Rune of Wrath and Ruin. Pretty cute. There's a little bit of damage there, but nothing too serious. Ark in the Black just trying to avoid some firepower, but it looks like Isabella does drop a zombie summon on top of them, which is good. Arkin can also use a summon in the front to buffer, and he does. He drops a skeleton summon on top of the miners as well as the giant slayers, and it's holding them at bay. So far this undead army holding well. There haven't been any big gaps in the armor where the enemies have been able to get through. The zombies are occupying a lot. Like, you can see like several valuable troops like blobbed here, which I think is a bit of a mistake. I think the Bladesingers should be using their mobility to wrap around the back. Like, the Bladesingers coming out here and hammering into Graveguard would be a huge win for them. Graveguard would get massacred by Bladesingers. So a couple small mistakes there in the frontline engagements in my humble opinion, but looks like Loopy, as well as his partner here, I think who's playing under a different name. But nonetheless, they are pushing in, and the Thunder is getting some nice shots. Dwarven guns will be pretty good against Ushabti Greatbow if they can sit in there and shoot those bad boys. And here we have the mighty Vargulf, the big vampiric gorilla, going to be bouncing over and going after the Wildwood Rangers. So we'll see what they can do. Go, go, mighty Vargulf. Balance of power is in the favor of the undead. All of the artillery and Greatbow shooting quite happily. One Greatbow almost out of ammunition. But will the undead run out of layers? Will the onion be effectively peeled? We will find out. The Sons of the Mountain do have some spears in the back. The Graveguard have been sent into fight. And it looks like the clan... Oh yeah, ODM has found a big opening here. They need to react quick. There's all these Dryads and Dwarf Warriors and Wardens of Sithril and Glade Riders moving in. I don't think they're going to be able to protect against all this. So one unit of spears has moved forward to deal with this, but this is a big erect blob. Like, Isabella needs to come back here right now from Predator and drop some summons to like help out and like block up this big angry force of Dwarves and Elves. Nice play in the backfield from the Predator. He is able to get the bats to chase down ye old cannon crew. Very, very strong. And the Graveguard seem to be holding well. Some of the Thunders a little bit beat up. Giant Slayers have taken quite some damage. I think there needs to be some support in the backfield. With a little bit of micro, ODM is going to be able to shut down a lot and really, really potentially kill the Screaming Skull catapults. And the Skeletons aren't going to hold up long against Wardens of Sithril, a very elite, powerful unit against an absolute dogshit unit, right? So that's not going to be great. Now, Tempest going down from the Elves. Quite good. Will do a little bit of damage against Isabella. Will we see zombie summons here in the backfield? I think it's very necessary because the Dwarves and the Elves are at the gate. It's like The Shining when, you know, he's axing through the door and, you know, they can only hide for so long back here. Now, catapults blasting in. Bladesinger is a high priority target. Graveguard chasing down Slayers, but the dreaded Dowie Kite, the Dwarves are pumping them Dwarven legs, and them Dwarven legs are rocking 40 speed against 27 of the Graveguard. So no need to take that fight. This is like a really, really, you know, sign of a good player, just like not giving fights. A lot of people just commit their units when they're beginners and just like let them fight. It's like Godzilla, let them fight. But in this case, you know, you don't have to take those engagements if you have the speed advantage. It's something that a lot of newer players have a little bit of trouble grasping for sure, but clearly very well illustrated there. Now, battle is still very even right now, but that is potentially going to be changing once the Screaming Meme catapults are taken offline. 1, 2, I believe the one over here was taken off. The Graveguard are still somewhat numerous, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, the Vargulf still going kind of strong. Isabella trying her best, and Ark in the Black and the Tomb Prince here trying to deal with some of these units. Arkin could definitely use some healing right now. I have not seen the Blood Chalice of Bathora used. I think it has a couple charges, so I should be able to get Arkin with a big heal soon. That'd be very valuable. Arkin has a ton of summons, so as it devolves into like a late game scrap, you can really get a ton of work in there. So here comes the Giant Slayers. They're pumping them Dwarven legs once again. Ark in the Black responds with a summon back here, which is okay. It's going to get some damage, maybe be able to protect the catapult, especially with the King Nikesha Scorpion Legion. So yeah, maybe the Screaming Beam catapult will temporarily be salvaged. We'll see. The other one's still shooting. Not quite sure what it's shooting at. It looks like it might be going after Thunderer units, which is a good choice. The Fellbat's able to take out the cannon crews, and the Fellbat's really proven to be MVPs. We'll be able to break the remnants of those Thunderers there. And the Ushabti summon coming in from the Undead. So despite the Undead looking like they were in a lot of trouble with that big flank from ODM, the Sons of the Mountain appear to have rallied and are now stabilizing a couple points on the battlefield. We'll see if they can get rid of the Giant Slayers and Dwarf Warriors here, but all the Dryads swarming in from the back are going to be putting a lot of hurt on these guys for sure. So yeah, there they go. The mighty shielded Tomb Kings. I feel like Tomb Kings would be, if they do new Tomb Kings models in the old world, that would be one I would consider playing too. They are just so goddamn cool looking. Like, their shields are just awesome. Their characters are awesome. And that's what's neat, right? Like, in the old world, even though it takes place 300 years before, you would have access to all the same characters. Like Cetra and Arkin, they're all like the same. So yeah, it'd be very much what we know. So, Isabella von Karstein flying overhead. The Vargulf maybe looking to Goon Thoric. That would actually be a pretty good call in my opinion. Like, if they team up. Isabella, I believe, has Master of Beguilement too, so you could maybe get in there and do some work. So far, no healing. It looks like an invocation going down, but it did not. A single target invo, interesting. Not overcasted to heal both characters. And the Sons of the Mountain, their characters are probably going to be the one thing they really need to carry the game. I'm surprised they're not going after Thoric. He seems very isolated here, although there are 19 Giant Slayers here. So now Arkin moving in, but the guns of the Dwarves have rallied here. Those Thunder is doing a lot of damage against Homeboy. He's going to have to get back. And the Vargulf Gorilla needs to just come and, you know, gorilla pound Thoric, essentially, as we like to say. Isabella going after some of the Bladesingers is able to save the Necromancer. And now the armies have kind of shifted sides. The Elves and the Dwarves have really secured this side of the battlefield and destroyed most of the artillery pieces. And yeah, this is getting pretty interesting here. The Undead have now taken this side, and the Graveguard are like defending over here. And the monster fight is underway. So Arkin the Black with the Blood Chalice of Bathorite, 2,400 HP. God damn, that is strong. Going to be healing him up quite a bit. Also improves his vigor, so will pretty much make him the equivalent of being tired. And Thoric Ironbrow gets karate chopped by Isabella and Arkin, as well as the Vargulf. Players are saying good luck, have fun, just making sure there's no questions. And now it's suddenly looking like the hero squad is going to carry the day. Because, like, look, for Loopy, you have a Spellweaver of High Magic. What the hell is that going to do against Isabella and Arkin? Thoric was kind of the carry in terms of, like, providing power to the battlefield. But will the undead characters be able to do it? I think so. Because I think Arkin the Black probably has a lot of summons left. Probably has like 2 or 3 left on his Tomb Blade. And, or is it the Tomb Blade? Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. But we do, of course, have Isabella von Karstein as well, who's going to be dropping summons most likely. She's probably has a couple in the bank. I've only seen like 2 or 3 this game. So, yeah, it looks like the Sons of the Mountain will be getting back on the scoreboard here and tying up the series 2-2. Obviously, the 2v2s are weighted a little bit more heavily as they are involved with several players. So, yeah, Thoric definitely got the Mike Tyson right hook. He was not having a good time with that. So the mighty Necromancer holds firm, cackling into the night. That'll be something. I feel like when I'm an old man, I'm just gonna like dress like a wizard or like some sort of an evil Necromancer and just go into like the equivalent of like Target, like, you know, 50 years from now and just cackle and do shit like that. Sounds like so much fun. All right, Isabella jumps over here, going after the Longbeards. Arkin the Black and the Chariots easily going to be able to dispatch these infantry. Like, infantry obviously are countered by chariots, right? I mean, Longbeards are somewhat resilient with their armor, and Arkin does not have a ton of AP, nor does the Prince, but still, just attrition is attrition. We still have a big Vargulf that's somewhat healthy too. The Graveguard to, like, back up upon, and it looks like the Sons of the Mountain here will be able to claim victory. I just don't see any way out for the forces of ODM. I think this will be tying up the series, which is great. I love a nice close tournament series. Nothing quite like it. So GG, well played to both sides. Skeleton Summon going down once again, and just like I was saying, that Skeleton Summon is so good. Wardens of Sithral probably fighting pretty hard here, but like they're not going to like getting, you know, beaten down by chaff. They only have 40 armor, so the little you know, prison shanks of the skeletons will eventually wear them down. Loopy trying his best to maneuver with the Spellweaver, maybe saving up for some soul quenches to try and snipe some characters, but you know, Arkin is full health. Isabella is like more or less full health. There's just no way whatsoever. No way whatsoever. And that is it. Spirit Leech going down on the Spellweaver. Might get it to army losses. Might take a little bit longer. But I think ODM must know that the game is over at this point. Scrapping to the bitter end. Valiantly fighting here. Looks like some Dryads about to break. But there's still even some Slayers here. Look at that. Dragonback Slayers. These guys are like, hey, don't forget about us. We got to fulfill our oaths. Let us chase you. Oh my god, they're so funny looking. Those cool mohawks. Yeah. Imagine having a mohawk like that. That's some powerful shit. So Arkin the Black rolling around once again. Graveguard still just grinding through the Longbeards. Longbeards are an excellent infantry unit. Very, very tanky for sure. Isabella von Karstein flying overhead. And that is going to be army losses. 2v2 is on. Yes. There you have it. One Dragonback Slayer, the last of his people. Going to be getting run over by Arkin the Black. So, the score now is going to be 2-2 in the series. We can jump on over to Ye Old Scorecard and update it. So, for any of you guys who are watching, you can see that is going to be 2 points. 2 points to Gryffindor. It's going to be 2 points for the Sons of the Mountain, because 2v2s count for 2 points in this particular tournament. So, the 2 1v1s were won by ODM. Razel was able to defeat Grombrindle. Super Munchkin able to defeat Predator. But in the 2v2, Grombrindle and the Predator were able to defeat Call Harmon and Loopy, whose name is spelled wrong in this for some reason. I didn't type this up, I swear. So it is going to be 2-2. Well played. Next up, we have Setzer versus, I believe that's Onyage. Very cool. I didn't know he was in ODM. Yeah, I guess he always was. He always was. So 2-2 in the Clan War. Let's go ahead and switch back over. Get the lobby all set up here. Got to make sure to add some of these fine gentlemen to my friends list. Let's see if I can get that going. Looks fine. All right. 1 second. Next up, we have Setzer versus Onyage. All right, GG, well played. We got to go back to basic large funds so the players aren't playing under some weird rules of some sort. Yeah, thanks for the game. Thanks for the game indeed. Yeah, the combo's really good. That undead combo is very strong. It's not unbeatable by any stretch of the imagination, but it's pretty interesting. I mean, like, dwarves usually go for artillery builds, you know, like, and just kind of play that way, but in this case, it was quite different for sure. So the map here is going to be the Toothgrass Hill. The Toothgrass Hill. Gotta find it. Sometimes it's like the Toothgrass Hill, so it's a little bit harder to find on the list instead of what you're actually looking for. So I really hope that we get some better multiplayer maps in the next game. That would be pretty nice. Again, I'm going to try and work on a way to... Okay, they're sitting in here now, so let's get you guys cleared out. Very good. Now Setzer is here. We're all set. I just got to see what side the players are on. All right, so it's going to be Onyage on the left. I believe let me see how he spells his name. Got to get this right. Yeah, so there's a D in there, so it's a little bit off, spelled wrong on this card here. Perfect. How's everyone doing today? Hope you guys are having a good time. He's going to be against Setzer of the Sons of the Mountain. Onyage, of course, a legend in multiplayer. Widely considered to be one of the top players in his time, and appears to be getting back into the game as well. So it should be quite a fun duel. Just got to fix the plates. And there we have it. Hey guys, we are on the Toothgrass Hill. Not quite sure what the matchup is yet. If it's Empire versus Dwarves, that's going to be pretty hilarious. I mean, massively favored for the Dwarves. However, there are a couple Empire builds that I've actually seen coming out of ODM as well that are quite good against Dwarves. I mean, I still think Dwarves have the edge, but you know, they do their things. Are 3 Mima Pults too much? No, I don't think so. Not in a 2v2. In a 1v1, yeah, maybe. But in a 2v2, you have more like, you know, especially with like cheap chaff like zombies and undead to protect everything. Oh shit, it is Empire versus Dwarves. It's happening. Aerocrastic, the legend returns, brother. He calls you back to battle. It was pretty exciting. Empire versus Dwarves. Now, the meta, I would say there's 2 common builds against Dwarves. On big maps, you can go quad Hellstorm Rocket Battery and just like try and like drag them through the mud with artillery. Or you go quad Hellstorm Rocket Battery with the Deathcaster, and you overcast Spirit Leech on their artillery and snipe it with your Hellstorms, and then you can usually win the artillery fight and force the Dwarves to waddle forward. Or you go with Great Swords and Halberds and just like a super wide like 20 stack of State Troopers with a couple cheap cavalry. That's a very strong way as well. Do you think it will come down to the 3v3? Part of me does. Part of me does. Like, I feel like these 2 teams are both very skilled, and like they'll be within like 2 or 3 points of each other, so the 3v3 could be the deciding factor at the end, which is pretty fun for sure. Pretty fun for sure. So Toothgrass Hill is here. Let's see what's cracking. I kind of like this map. It's a little bit funky. The one problem is one side has like better access to the hill, so it's one that I kind of avoid in my own events. Well, you know, in tournaments that I'm like picking the maps for. But, you know, it's okay. It adds a little bit of flavor, and you can get some different tactics. But if it was just a little bit more centralized. Really, I think the Empire is good against Dwarves. I would disagree. I think it's one of the first bans. Like, almost all Empire players will ban Dwarves. Because good Dwarf players will, you know, really give you a lot of problems. And this is actually a pretty different Dwarf build. It's like mass Grudge Throwers. Holy shit. Yeah, that's some wild stuff. Kind of cool, though. It would appear that Setzer knows the map. Like, he knows there's a giant hill here. So maybe that's why he brought the Grudge Throwers, right? So he could sit behind the hill and bombard the Empire. Now, let's go ahead and see what Onyage has done here. It's funny because Onyage and I played a couple games, like 2 months ago? Yeah, it must have been like 2 or 3 months ago. And we practiced this matchup quite a bit on both sides. It was pretty fun. We were able to find some builds that were pretty effective against you know, the Dwarves with Empire. So I'm curious if he's going to be doing... Yeah. So this is one of the builds we practiced, which was the quad Hellstorm Rocket Battery with a very cheap sniping character, Marcus Wolfhard, exactly what we were practicing against each other. And he's got the Grey Wizard with, I believe, Melkos. Interesting. Pendulum's also quite good. Some Outriders and Pistoliers. Pistoliers are the counter against Slayers. So, like, when the Slayers are in open field, you just pick them apart with Pistoliers. And yeah, you just have chaff. This is definitely a solid build. The quad Hellstorm Rocket Battery can definitely do some work. And now if we look at the glorious Dawi army, Dwarf warriors in the front, backed up by thunders and bows and all sorts of good stuff. We got triple grudge thrower. Yeah, one of them going to be the Goblobber, one Slayer, and double gyrocopter too. Interesting. Brimstone guns. Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think of this build's meta. A Lord and a Master Engineer. No Thorek, interestingly enough, but Thorek isn't that good in this matchup. You know, the Empire, you don't need, like, you know, all of those runes. You can go a little bit cheaper and wider, but yeah, the quad Hellstorm rocket battery, basically he's probably just going to put one Hellstorm rocket battery on each of these ranged units. Maybe just ignore the artillery of the Dwarves. It's hard to say, because, like, if the Dwarves don't leave something to defend it, you can also get your Pistoliers and ride around the back and just, you know, hammer them. So there's a couple interesting nuances to that, for sure. Bandawi, that's going in the book. If it were a normal best of 3 tournament, you typically see Dwarves banned. There's a couple situations in which you don't. Like, if you really want to, like, a lot of Dwarf players aren't even that used to playing this matchup simply because it's banned all the time. So sometimes you can catch someone off guard with it and, you know, give them a good old run for their money. No, the Empire cannons, in my experience, are a little bit worse than the Dwarven ones, because the Dwarven crews are more resilient. They'll stay longer, whereas the Empire crews will run quicker because their leadership is worse. So, in my experience, Dwarven cannons usually have a slight edge against Empire cannons. But the cool thing about Hellstorm rocket batteries from a Sigmarite perspective is they have further range. They have 480 range. So the cannons and grudge throwers usually are 450, or 440 on these ones. Cannons are 450. But, you know, it's in that ballpark. It is in that ballpark for sure. Yeah, this is one of 2 ways to play it. One of 2 ways to play it. The other way, again, is great swords and halberds and just swarm them. And that can work as well. It's a little bit harder. I mean, they're both hard builds. They're both hard to pull off, in my opinion. Like, good, solid Dwarvish play typically has a pretty solid advantage over the Empire. But this, I think the build that Onyage is doing, in conjunction with his really, really good micro, he's got incredible micro, will, does he have any mobility? I guess just the Pistoliers, really. So some final tweaks going in here. It's pretty cool to see this, this stuff we were practicing a little while back. Dwarf cannons are 440. Interesting, unlike the Empire. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty insignificant. That's like literally just like a waddling a half second. But I guess the Empire would get the first shot off. But I think the Dwarven crews are just far more resilient. So, yeah. You ever think about how the Skaven are somehow more technologically advanced than the Dwarves? Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense, though, because the Skaven are reckless. So they're willing to use like unproven technology and take risks in terms of technological advancement. Whereas in Dwarvish culture and Warhammer lore, there's a huge movement for traditionalism. That's Thorek's whole thing. So they like, a lot of like really progressive engineers like are looked at as like, you know, in a negative way. They're like, they look at them like troublemakers. So dwarves like to stick to their traditional tactics, which is, you know, a downfall in a way, right? Because if they were willing to take risks and, you know, do more ballsy things in terms of technology, they can be far more powerful. But the Skaven don't give a shit. They're like, oh, let's just like tape all these things together and like throw in some Skaven slaves and sacrifice our people to make it work. So over here, we do get the gyrocopters, and they are being hunted down by outriders. Outriders an excellent counter against the gyrocopters. The gyrocopters should just get wrecked, and it looks like a bombing run might be coming in here. Yeah, he drops one there, a little bit inefficient. Definitely should have been maybe just doing one at a time there. He gets like a little bit of HP off Sterling's Revenge, and that's pretty much it. On the far side, what do we have? Pistoliers vanguarded for Onyage, and if the artillery of the Dwarves is left undefended, that's going to be a big problem. Now, this hill is actually not great for the Hellstorms. It seems like a lot of them are running into a bit of a strange position. Yeah, they're really kind of hitting the lip of the hill here, which is certainly a problem. So here comes, yeah, like in Thoric Ironbrow's campaign, for example, like there's one of your quest battles is to like punish a dwarven engineer who's like uppity, you know, as they say, you know, who's trying to be like, you know, avant-garde and creating new technology and things like that. So pretty funny for sure. Yeah, Skaven tech is indeed unevenly distributed. Yeah, there's a lot of variables for sure. So the artillery of Sigmar continues to pound into the dwarves. The outriders of Onyage are able to really just shoot into the gyrocopter brimstone guns pretty effectively. And yeah, outriders got great range too. They got 130. They can outrange the gyrocopters. They can pace with them. They can certainly do a lot of work. And the dwarven artillery, though, seems to be shooting back. Not yet. It's like scooting in. I think it's trying to get in range of the Hellstorms. Hellstorms are obviously massively advantaged in terms of range, and still are shooting in. I'm curious if the Hellstorm rocket batteries will switch onto the Thunders. I probably would switch onto these, to be honest, and just have my Pistoliers harass and like dive in, because the dwarves aren't really defending back here, and I don't think they have the capability of doing so. So I think if he just took some Pistoliers back here for Onyage, he would be able to really punish these things and get some work in. So the dwarves pushing up, they don't really have much else of a choice. I don't think they want to play this artillery trade, and Melkoth's for the Grey Wizard. I'm curious if that's like a tech against Slayers. Slayers are very, very powerful against Empire. Typically, they're pretty annoying to deal with, but like a Melkoth will slow them down, do a little bit of damage, allow your missile pieces to potentially shoot them, and live long and prosper, as they say. So Hellstorm rocket batteries have now switched on to what appears to be the ranged units. So you can see the Thunders are now getting attacked. The Quarrelers and other Thunders should be getting focused as well. A little bit of collateral damage might actually be able to hit the artillery crews. But so far, the Dwarves definitely on the back foot. I think that the Empire is getting the superior engagements. The Gyrocopters being focused down by the Outriders. And although one of the Hellstorm rocket batteries is taken offline, so certainly a nice catch for the Dowie. Maybe the Dwarves will use their chariots here, their flying chariots, to hunt down the Hellstorm rocket battery and keep it from coming back. That would be quite clutch, because this Hellstorm has a shit ton of ammo. So you really, really want to take that bad boy out. Now, the Dwarves probably need to keep advancing. I'm not sure why they're like falling back here. Maybe just trying to reform ranks, but I think the Dwarves maybe should want to keep pressing. Like, the Empire just has Haggard Swordsmen. I mean, they would get handedly defeated by Dwarf Warriors. And, you know, I don't know. Sitting here and trading, I guess they maybe are confident that they got one Hellstorm rocket battery. And this is a really, really good play here by Setzer. He's able to break 2 of the Hellstorm rocket batteries, and now is pursuing them with the Gyrocopters. But I think the Empire is very privy to this. They need to be able to rally these crews. So the Outriders should be doing everything in their power to take down the Gyrocopters. Maybe Marcus Wolfhart should be back here as well, trying to help out with that. But there you have the Gyrocopter diving into melee, trying to shatter that Hellstorm crew. And the other Hellstorms are being taken out. It seems that the Dwarven engineering appears to be doing very well. The Grudge Throwers, how many models do we have here? It looks like we have 3. Looks like we have another 3 right there and another 3 here. And they, yeah, they're doing their business. There they go. Hellstorm rocket batteries certainly getting pounded pretty good by that Dwarven power. The Grudge Thrower, of course, the ROR one, the Goblobber, does have a leadership discouraging effect. So the Sigmarite crews, they don't like getting hit with goblins either. And now Onyage finally springs his trap. Now, the Dwarves starting to get back in this game, but I think that these Pistoliers, which were vanguarded, the Dwarves really haven't put much of an emphasis on protecting their artillery. If Onyage is able to get back here and just hammer them, that's probably game over. I think the Empire wins at that point. This is too much to lose. It's like, what, you know, over 2,000, almost 3,000 gold worth of assets that are going to be pounded by some, you know, rough riding Pistoliers. Ouch, this really, really hurts. Setzer was really doing a good job kind of getting back into that with the artillery trading, but now he's going to just, you can see the Dwarvish infantry scurrying back here to try and protect it, but there's like no way. I mean, I guess some of the Thunderers might be able to shoot back and provide some cover fire, but they're definitely going to be losing at least the Goblobber and maybe another piece as the Pistoliers sit here and keep shooting at the Dwarven crews. Now back in the front, looks like there's going to be a fiery ring of Thori. That was a beautiful cast there by Setzer, able to hit the Sterlin's Revenge. We have more Outriders with grenade launchers coming around the flank. That was another unit that we practiced with a little bit in this matchup and found it to be very effective in the later stages of the game of cleaning up Dwarvish infantry. So yeah, just like that, the Dwarves have lost their powerful artillery piece, and the balance power does go into the favor of the Sigmarites. And the other Grudge Thrower might actually just get focused down by the Pistoliers. There are some Thunders that are coming back here to kind of protect it, but we'll see if they're able to stabilize that position. At least they saved 2 of their artillery pieces. Certainly gives them a little bit more of a fighting chance. Over here we have Swordsmen fighting Dwarf Warriors. Dwarf Warriors are very, very low model count, so the Empire should be able to win that fight, which they normally don't. Hellstorm Rocket Battery blasting into trees, which is pretty unfortunate, but it does hit some of the Longbeards here, who are afflicted by the Melkoth's mystifying miasma. Ammunition on Marcus a little bit low. I'm curious if Marcus maybe should switch on to the Dwarf Lord to just try and start wearing him down. He's going to be a little bit of a problem. I mean, nothing here outside of the Outriders and Marcus is great against the Dwarf Lord, although I think there's some handgunners. We got Sterlin's Revenge, I think just Free Company Militia. And the Pistoliers in the back just causing so many problems. I mean, look at the Goblobbers back here are offline. They could get into melee against the Thunders, which might not be a bad idea. Like, with the Swordsmen pressing them here, yeah, and I think Onyage picks up on this. He immediately sees the opportunity to sandwich them, and the Pistolier is going to be rough riding in there, and there you go. So the Dwarves do indeed get punted down the hill, and the Swordsmen should still be advancing, because the Pistoliers aren't, like, super powerful in melee, and Thunderers are more or less like Dwarf Warriors in combat. So you still want to get the Swordsmen over here to help out and do their thing. The bots are here. Look at that. Aerocrastic coming in with the save. The ever-chosen man himself slaying the foul Slaanesh bots. A portent of what's to come in Game 3, perhaps. Although I feel like Aerocrastic might be a Slaanesh man himself. So, Thunderers here. Take a little bit of damage. Down to 52 models. Outrider grenade launchers doing an excellent job as I think they do in this matchup. Very, very good at clearing out Slayers. And another great fiery ring of Thori here from Setzer. So, this is becoming a really close scrap. Despite the fact that Setzer is behind, that can often happen against these like Hellstorm builds, but then in the later stages of the game, the Empire kind of falters. And the Dwarves have now realized how important it is to protect their artillery position, and they're sitting here and making sure that the Empire isn't able to get their Sigmarite paws onto the cannons. Thunders switching, turning about face, going to be shooting into the Outriders. Outriders getting some pretty cost-effective fire. shooting into a valuable unit of missile pieces there. So that's very, very strong. Might be able to open up some, openings here in the grudge thrower formation. And here they come. Charging in. Will they be able to break them? Maybe. The dwarves are very resilient folk. They're very hardy, but they do indeed break there. I guess just too many horses riding at you. Not going to be fun. Speaking of horses, last night I actually watched a documentary on the Mongols. It was pretty intense. Holy shit, man. That was quite a vast empire, but a subject for another day. So Marcus Wolfhart shooting in. Looks like he's going after the Master Engineer. Probably the best target for him. The Master Engineer is a much more attainable goal than the Dwarven Lord. And yeah, just kind of focusing down that character I think is going to be a good choice. The Grudge Throwers still shooting. We got 3 and 3, and they are blasting in and finishing off the Grudge Throwers, or excuse me, the Hellstorm rocket batteries in the back. One of them is rallying, might be able to get a couple of volleys left. I think the other 2 Hellstorms are pretty much out of the picture, but the Empire appears to be in a pretty commanding position. Having a lot of cavalry, though the cavalry aren't great against like a lot of Dwarf Warriors and things like that, they still can cause a lot of problems. And the Dwarf Lord is getting blasted by Sterling's Revenge, who are going to be such MVPs here. They have amazing armor piercing. And they're going to do it. Yeah. It's not game 3 yet. Too soon for this. Yeah, I know. It's a little bit behind the times. A little bit behind the times. So Pistoliers, maybe going to be able to break the Master Engineer. He's sitting at 14 leadership, so the Pistoliers could charge in there and hammer down that unit. And here comes the Spearmen advancing onto the Dwarvish position. And the Dwarf Infantry will have the advantage. That's one of the reasons why the matchup's a little bit difficult. But overall, I think Onyage really has secured the game here. I'd be really surprised if the Dwarves are able to come back. I mean, Marcus isn't great in melee, and ammunition is running a little bit low for the Empire. But overall, the Pistoliers are just so good against Slayers. If they go aggressive against you, like, you can really do quite well against the Slayers. You have to be very, very on top of your micro, though, managing all those like horsemen and making sure the Dwarves don't get too effective of return fire against you. The Outrider grenade launchers shooting into the Dwarf Warriors here, and though they don't have the craziest armor piercing, it's still going to be causing some problems. So, yeah. Oh yeah, you're talking about the White Scars in 40k. Yeah, absolutely. I have a friend who plays them. They have a pretty cool army. Yeah, really, really neat stuff. Army losses is pretty damn close. Now that the Dwarven artillery positions are broken, the Sigmarite State Troopers fighting hard here in the pits, and it looks like a rear charge is maybe going to be coming in. No, probably want to use the last of your ammo before you charge in there. You could just shoot these shielded units in the back where their shields count for nothing. And the Pistoliers have piled in against the Dwarf Lord. I would imagine Marcus will get into combat, teamed up with the Grey Wizard, so Gandalf the Grey here. He has not ascended to his final form of being a Light Wizard yet, but he's trying his best. He's still but a Grey Wizard. And Marcus Wolfhart running across. Has a little bit of ammo, probably enough to maybe trigger army losses. What is he? Oh, only 1 volley, actually, so doesn't appear to be the case. Sterling's Revenge sitting here just waiting to shoot the Dwarf Lord. I think that these cavalry probably should pull back right now and just let them shoot at the Dwarf Lord. That probably would trigger the army losses. And Onyage with the upset victory against the Dwarves with a pretty solid build. Yeah, if I do say so myself. Yeah, so this is pretty cool. Really neat to see that build in action. Really neat to see that in action. All right, so value accrued. Let's look at the Hellstorms. We'll just kind of mouse over things really quick. Yeah, pretty good. 1,200 on one of them, and the other one, yeah, I guess only one of them really did quite well. But it does accomplish your goal of forcing the Dwarves forward. The Outriders were big MVPs. 1,300, 900. Like, shutting down the Gyrocopters was big. Normally, you don't see Gyros in this matchup. And I actually liked the Grudge Thrower play. I thought that was a really good answer against the Hellstorms. Was able to really nuke the crews off and get the good value there. So that is going to be a victory for ODM. So we're going to switch on over to the score and update that bad boy. So ODM will be claiming victory here. Let me go ahead and fill this in green. And they go up 3-2 in this glorious battle. So next we have Dr. Jellyfish versus the Pantalonad. Oh, that's a bit of a long one there. Looks like it's going to be the Beastmen versus... Oh my god, we have a Beastmen mirror match in this tournament. Oh god. Why do you do this? Maybe they'll play sub-faction flags and it'll be a little bit easier. But we do have a Beastmen mirror match coming up. So let me make sure I have these guys on my friends list here. And we should be good to go. So, yeah, can we add you? Okay. The cursed friends list is just giving me problems as usual. By the way, if you're ever on my friends list on Steam and then you find that you're not, it's not for any reason. It's just because I have to cycle. I'm constantly cycling it just for tournaments because of how stupid our goddamn lobby system is in this game. You can't like add people. Like people can't see your lobby if they're not on your friends list. It's just like, oh my god, just end me, dude. Just end me. It's the most annoying shit ever. All right, so looking good. Looking good. That should allow me to add the last 3 of today's players, and we are all set. GG. Alrighty. So next up, the two fine champions will be joining in a minute. We do have the Beastmen mirror, so regardless of your affiliation with the Beastmen and what kind of moves you like to unleash, you're going to be getting some happy ones one way or the other. Brutal Noob, thank you for the donation. The tenor says, greetings from Sweden. Thanks for the quality multiplayer content. Your channel convinced me that there's more than only StarCraft RTS to watch. So keep up the good work. Hey, thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. This game is really fun to watch for sure. Yeah, hopefully the future will be bright for it. You know, I don't think it'll become like a massive, esport or something, but we do our best. We do our best. The Brass Bull versus the One Eye. Well, let's see what map they're on, firstly. So as far as the map goes, we're going to be on Prague. Prague is a pretty classic multiplayer map. You see it in pretty much every tournament. The Beastmen mirror match. The Sons of the Mountain Beastmen versus the ODM Beastmen. Who will win this day? Who will win this day? All right, so we got Dr. Jellyfish. Dr. Jellyfish versus... My name's a little bit long. Hansa. Got to make sure to spell that correctly. Got to do them fair here. Scale the names to fit. All right. I wonder if every faction is going to be represented today. I don't know if we've seen Vampire Coast yet. I'm sure Vampire Coast will make an appearance at some point today. So here we are in the lobby. The dreaded Beastmen mirror match is here. Yes, that's exactly what they said. And I guess we'll see how this goes. We'll see how this goes for sure. Corn cares not from where the moos flow, only that they do. That's true. I'm trying to think who would be the best in the Beastmen mirror. I think Malagor is really good. Flock of Doom is amazing, and Cygor summons are always useful. I think Torox is a pretty strong pick. You know what they should do? They should just let both of these guys bring all the bugged units and just not... Since it's a mirror, like, who gives a shit? Just, like, let him just spam all the broken shit. That'd be pretty funny. Which legion do you think would have to fight for the opposite side to decisively swing the Horus Heresy to a different outcome? Oh, that's... I don't know the lore well enough, brother. Yeah. Like, I know the basics of all of that, the Horus Heresy and, like, the, the general aspects of things, but I don't know enough to answer that question, unfortunately. But, I mean, I'm sure if, like, the Imperial Fists, like, switched to the... they were defending the palace, right? So, like, if the Imperial Fists, like, switched to the side of Horus, like, it probably would have been over, right? So, yeah, like, I suppose that answers your question. Coast is in the 3v3. Copy that. All right. Well, here's a mirror match for you guys. Let's just kind of ramble and try and figure out what's going on as these two herds of cows collide and barbecue each other. Yeah, plenty of moves going down in this battle. Is it ever worth it to take the Great Bray Shaman? Yeah, it can be. Personally, Dimitri, though, I think, like, Malagor is just objectively better. He's, like, a better caster. He's got, like, a pretty good kit of spells. Yeah, so, I mean, I don't know, Dimitri. I don't see it often. But, I mean, it could be, I think, in a very niche build where you're trying to accomplish, like, a certain goal, but, yeah. All right. Yeah, Sean, that works as well. So, taking a look here at the Beastmen, okay, at least we have different lords. It's going to be Malagor the Dark Omen with a very, very heavy Centaur army, so a ton of Centaurs with double Manticore, facing off against Torox the Brass Bull. Torox's army, a little bit more elite via the Koroks Man-Rippers, and he's got some pigs and Minotaurs with great weapons. So Dr. Jellyfish actually going for a much more stationary, heavy build, whereas the forces of Pantalonade here, I'm just going to call the ODM champion. I have no idea if I'm mangling that name. He does have the Manticores and Malagor with a little goon squad, as well as Centaurs with throwing axes. So pretty cool for sure. So we got your boy Torox the Brass Bull against Malagor the Dark Omen. I wish they had been able to pick sub factions, but you can't have everything in life. Sometimes you have to suffer, and life is suffering. So there you go. There you go, indeed. Minotaurs with great weapons certainly can be nice here. I mean, if they're able to get their hooves onto the flying beasts, the Manticores, the chariots, charging Centaurs, they can tear them apart very, very quickly. Very, very quickly for sure. So we'll see how that all unfolds. No sub-faction, no. Well, yeah, you obviously don't want your opponent to know what you're bringing. So, I mean, I guess they could have both, like, said, hey, I'm done with my army. Let's pick the sub-factions for our lords. But that's a little bit too much, so the Bray herds advance on one another. The more aggressive Bray herd, led by Torox the Brass Bull, as you can see, he immediately moves towards his opponent. Doesn't even take a moment to be like, hey, what do you got? He's just Dr. Jellyfish going hard in the paint here and going to be trying to crump through some of these forces. There they go. The Razorgore herds up in the high ground. One here and one here. Trying to think of the application of Razorgores. It does give you some mass. They have an okay fight, but Centaurs, in my experience, do trade relatively well with them. They only have 16 melee defense and very low armor, so like a charging Centaur can really kill them quite quickly. So maybe just using them as more of like a buffering unit, like basically having the Razorgore herd stacked on top of the Ungor Spearmen in the front line, that's probably going to be your recipe for success. So we will see. Centaur throwing axes circling about. I'm going to be throwing into the Ungor Spearmen maybe. They might actually waste some ammo, we'll see. And some of the ammunition is wasted. A couple Centaurs do go down, and it looks like the Flying Goon Squad of Malagor and the big old Manticores are looking for a little something. Now, Malagor's spells, he does only have Enfeebling Foe? What the hell's going on here? Oh, he's got a Wildcaster with Traderkin too. So he's just trying to take advantage of the AoE bug and really just get a ton of value in there. Now, in the backfield, we do have the Minotaurs just kind of sitting tight, and it looks like the Centaur Horde. It's so hard to tell, yeah, because they both have like a fair amount of similar units, but yeah. Very defensive position from Jellyfish, waiting for the Alpha Strike to be coming in from the ODM champion here. Traderkin going down, it does get a big hit, hits everything, and Traderkin is one of the spells that even if you leave the Aura of Influence, it still hits everything. So that was a really good Traderkin. And it also rampages the Razorgores, which are now going to be running into fight against the Ungors, and, you know, not the best fight for them, so we'll see. Centaur's back here, going to be preparing to charge in. The Manticore is supporting, and they are going to be getting a freebie Alpha Strike. The Grog Hooves of Wolf's Run for Dr. Jellyfish will be going down, but the Pigs of Dr. Jellyfish do countercharge the Manticore and might be able to rampage that bad boy. And both Beastmen armies looking to move in there and just have a big knockdown, drag-out fight. A good responding Traderkin coming in from Dr. Jellyfish is able to hit the Centaurs as well as some of the Ungor Spears and really actually wins that blob fight for the forces of the Sons of the Mountain. Now, in response, ooh, such a good cast right there. That was beautiful coming in from Dr. Jellyfish. He got a Brace Scream, and that like took half HP almost off both of those Centaurs with throwing axes. However, on the other side, Malagor and the Manticore is able to win this fight. So both players kind of just trading positions, but another Traderkin's going to come in and, oh god, overcasted Traderkin. It hits the entire army. Literally everything got hit there. And you can see the bounce of power starts to ebb into the favor of the forces of ODM with that beautiful cast right there. Very nasty. I mean, that's you know, the price you pay for getting everything nice and blobbed up there. So both players kind of trading sides. Now there's just big, disgusting beast blobs just moving towards one another, mouth breathing, and just rubbing their barbecue together. And one Manticore does Rampage in, which is a nice catch for the Brass Bull. Brass Bull should be able to get a freebie here. Minotaurs with Great Weapons are still relatively healthy too. We do have 12 models on this one, although where is the other Minotaur Great Weapon? I think it died. I think that's why the bounce power is so bad. I think the other Minotaur Great Weapon was like over here and got like isolated and killed or something. But the Manticore's offline. Dr. Jellyfish trying to rally his forces, but Ungor Raiders could actually be the big difference maker. Ungor Raiders are going to be able to poke this very static blob. And the Minotaurs with Great Weapons are, of course, very weak against missiles. Any sort of archer play is going to be able to punish them pretty badly. So right now, Pantalonade just kind of throwing in chaff units, just trying to occupy the forces of Dr. Jellyfish and just using his superior range to wear them down. Brass Bull, you know, kind of sitting here with a chub, not really having anything to take it out on. I mean, he does have this caster over here. Let's see if our ODM player here is able to see this coming. And the Brass Bull moves, and the Bray Shaman cackles in the night and just runs away on his Haggard Chariot. And suddenly the Brass Bull just doesn't really have anything to fight. He could move in and go after the Tuskor Chariot. Another Traderkin is going to be going down. And that might be the nail in the coffin, as I think a lot of the elite troops, like the Minotaurs with Great Weapons, are just being killed by the crappy Raiders. I think the cheap width of the ODM army was able to win the day. And the Minotaurs with Great Weapons probably did not accrue much, if any, value at all. I mean, maybe like 500, 600 on one of them. I'll have to go and double check after the game is over. But that is going to be army losses. The double Manticore Malagor army able to outfox the forces of Torox the Brass Bull. And that is going to be a victory for ODM here in this battle. GG, well played, quite a scrap. A quick one, but that's to be expected. Beastmen games are, you know, generally quick one way or the other, especially if it's against another Beastman, because, you know, there's not much scheming going on. It's more or less just going to be getting in there and, you know, locking horns and doing some fights. So army losses in a moment. The brass body going down from the Brass Bull as the bull does pop in and gives the horns to the old feral Manticore. GG, well played. So that is a nice one for ODM. They're going to probably be pulling ahead here in the series. Pretty close. Pretty close for sure. But the 2v2s are going to be important, as will the 3v3s at the end of the event. So let's take a look. So, Aristodemos, you really don't know the expression? So, can somebody explain to me mouth breathing to me? I don't know if you're just trolling me or not. It's always hard to tell with you if you're seriously asking a question, so I'll wait for some clarification before I answer that. Okay. So, looking here, Minotaurs, yeah. Minotaurs got shut down. They're a 1,500 gold unit just about, and they only got like 500-600 value. Just the width, the Ungor Raiders, like, were able to really poke them down, or at least one of them was. Only 22 value on this one, but the other one put some hurt on them. The Manticores were pretty effective at gooning, and the superior mobility was able to just pick apart isolated parts of the army. So there you have it. Let's go to the score and check up on things here in this clan war. ODM does take another victory, so they are going to be up 4-2 right now. Really dominating the 1v1s. The 2v2s, of course, the first one did go to the Sons of the Mountain, so we will see if the 2v2 is going to be their lifeblood in this particular tournament as we do progress. So the score right now is 4-2. ODM is up. We have a 2v2, a couple 1v1s, and then obviously a 2v2 and a 3v3. So many more games to be played today, so thank you all for joining. Let's keep this momentum going. Keep having some fun. We need Traderkin value. Oh, yes, of course. I can actually still give that to you. So going back to the main battle here. 1,300 from the Traderkin here, and this one, 2,462 value. Yes. So quite a bit of value on that Traderkin. Really, really good stuff indeed. All right, so the next lobby, let's get this set up and see what we have next. I believe next up is a 2v2, so I have to open a couple more slots. All right. There we are. So ODM appears to be on the left side, so let's just slap their name here. Sons of the Mountain here. Excellent. Let's make the names big and powerful, just like their clans. And the Sons of the Mountain. The last clan war we had was really close. It actually, I believe, came down to the 3v3 at the end, which also happened to be a very, very close battle. So hopefully we can get a repeat of that. That would certainly be quite nice. Would you consider a random faction tournament where each person also gets rolled a random regiment of renown? That's kind of a cool idea. I would certainly consider it. Well, Aristodemos, to answer your question, mouth breathing is actually a medical condition. Typically, it's with people who have like obstructed, deviated septums or have trouble breathing out of their nose. So obviously, as a result, their mouths are always open, and they're just like, you know, they breathe out of their mouths, right? So, but calling someone a mouth breather has been a term that has been like kind of an insult to one's intelligence, even though there's actually no correlation there. It's been a term that's, you know, like, oh, you're a mouth breather, which means you're more like, you know, more caveman-esque, sitting there with your mouth agape. Because obviously, when someone's mouth is closed and they're kind of standing, it's more of like a stoic, you know, composed look. Whereas if somebody's standing there, you know, with their mouth just hanging open and breathing heavily, it's kind of more of a, you know, a primal, simplistic look. If you see what I'm saying. So, you know, mouth breathing is usually, at least in the way I use it, a correlation to like simplicity and just primal caveman tactics. Yeah. That's probably more of an in-depth answer than you were looking for, but hopefully it was good. Rivari. Yeah, it's definitely more, it's something I've heard in the States before. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, that guy's a mouth breather for sure. It's like, but sadly, a lot of people who actually are mouth breathers don't have a choice because they have like respiratory issues. But there are just some people who always have their mouths just agape. It's kind of just like if you've ever watched some people just do it like while they're like focusing on things too. Like if you've ever watched Grubby stream, he constantly just has his mouth open in silence for like minutes at a time when he's playing, you know. It's just some people are just like that. Yeah. Rivariel, thank you for the donation. Hey Turin, love the content. If you could give a new unit to the Dawi, what would it be? Probably some sort of I don't know, it's hard because they're a weird one to balance. If you give them like a high mass like Kroxigor type unit, it might be a little bit problematic for like getting into their lines, but I don't know. Maybe like the Thunder Barge as like an ROR, like a big epic blimp, or like a runic golem. Yeah. For sure. You like the description? I thought it was good. Yeah, like Norska. Yeah, Norskins are definitely mouth breathers. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Oh, funds need to be set to 10,000. Sorry, I was getting so into that discussion, I was just totally spacing out. They're just all waiting for me right now. Yeah, of course. Classic. Classic. Another great insult. Oh yeah, I haven't heard that one, nobody. Yeah, it's pretty interesting hearing all the insults and slangs from different countries. You know, I've had a little bit of an experience in Poland, hearing some of that in that glorious country. So yeah, The peasant mobs, yeah, they're definitely mouth breathers as well. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, poor peasants. They tried their best. They definitely try their best. So it looks like it's going to be vampires and lizardmen teaming up with Skaven and high elves. It's going to be a fun one for sure. Kind of factions you normally wouldn't see fight together. It would more be the reverse. That's kind of why I like the 2v2 where there's alliances and you have to play an alliance, because it's much easier to watch it, because you can have like certain factions like with loreful alliances, or at least that makes sense. It's a little bit harder to follow. Yeah. A little bit harder to follow. Smelly Drookie, is that some local slang? If you ever watch Hey Arnold cartoon, there was a kid that's a mouth breather. Yeah, I remember. I vaguely remember that. I have like a very deep memory of that. Nick, I am very careful when people ask me to say things on stream nowadays. I've been tricked far too many times in my earlier days. Back when I was young and naive. Still happens every now and then. So we got some elves and Skaven. Pretty cool team. I'm trying to think of the big synergies. I guess the elves can bring the big monsters and cavalry. So you go like Arcane Phoenixes and just have like Elven Cavalry to defend the Skaven back line, and then Skaven can just go weapons, teams, and mortars. I think that's probably what you'll see. Like maybe Complex Slayer goes with like, double Jezzail, double mortar, and like a bunch of chaff, and then maybe the elves bring the front line of Silver and Guard with some cavalry and monsters. A lot of cool ideas here. A lot of cool ideas for sure. Yeah, I feel like Australia would have some really good like, insults for sure. Yeah. Hey Arnold was such a 90s cartoon. Yeah, it was. It was. The 90s had some really disturbing cartoons. Like I remember turning on some shows back in the 90s, like, and just like seeing like, and randomly seeing an episode of like Ren and Stimpy and being like, now that I look back, I'm like, that is not a kid's show. There was some seriously disturbing imagery in that show, in Ren and Stimpy. And like the 90s had a lot of shit like that. Like these weird shows, like, well, I guess that was more like late 90s, yeah. Yeah, I guess so. But that show had some disturbing shit. Yeah. Pretty wild stuff. Pretty wild stuff indeed. So it looks like the ODM team is ready. Dactyr and Alfredino, very, very strong players, and facing off against Complex Slayer and Dr. Jellyfish. I haven't seen them play too much. I've seen Dr. Jellyfish a bit, of course, in the previous games, and Complex Slayer, I think, has played in some of my qualifiers. Perhaps they could pull off a glorious upset. We will see. We will see indeed. Getting kind of hungry. I only had like rice cakes this morning. It's not enough, man. It's not enough. Rocco's Modern Life. Yeah, that was another one. There's a lot of weird stuff. Courage the Cowardly Dog was another one. That one had some scary ass shit on it too, and it was like, this was on like what, Cartoon Network for like kids. It was playing during like, I think that some of those were on at night, but yeah, that was like some scary stuff. Simon Benjamin, thank you for the 30 pounds. He says, catching a live stream. By the way, calling someone slackjawed is similar to mouth breather. Okay, makes sense. Well, when I visit the UK again, I'll make sure to use the appropriate terminology. Yeah. I will make sure to do that. Animaniacs, yeah. Yeah, like all those shows back then were... Certainly they got away with quite a bit more. Let me make sure they don't have any questions. Oh, they're saying good luck, have fun. We are going to be... Oh, is the map correct? Hold on. I think I might be on the wrong map. It's supposed to be... Oh, okay. So Southern Chaos Way, sorry. Okay. I'll let the players know. Wrong map. Just switched it to correct one in case you wanted to fix armies. I'm just letting the players know because we were on a different map. I had the wrong one selected, so now I have the right one. It looks like everyone's fine though. I think they're all ready, so. Just giving them the opportunities to look. I mean, they're both flat maps, so it doesn't really matter too much, in all honesty. Does not matter. So yeah, this is this particular event you're watching right now is part of a larger set of a larger tournament. It's a Clan War Cup, basically. So all of the major Total War clans are playing in this cup, and there's different casters, or I guess, yeah, commentators, whatever you want to call it, doing different group stages. So I'm handling the group that has ODM, the Sons of the Mountain, as well as BBB. So I'll be casting the other rounds of that as well. Yes. Anthony, thank you for becoming a member. Welcome to the Dukes of Haggard. We are here and we are not going anywhere, baby. Thank you for joining and greatly appreciate that. Greatly appreciate that. You're saying some scenes from Ren and Stimpy that you saw as a kid are permanently burned into your brain? Yeah. Yeah, it's some disturbing shit. Yeah, it really is. Southern Chaos Waste is a pretty flat map, so you're not going to be seeing too many cheeky tactics, as they would say. Yeah, it was fun. Before the damn pandemic, I was going to the UK quite a bit. Because back then, we had the Everchosen tournament, obviously, right? And the Everchosen, they would let us come out to England and cast it from the studios there, which was super fun. So we got to spend some time in, Horsham is a relatively small town for sure. It feels more like small town England, which was really cool. I enjoyed seeing it quite a bit. I love like the, I liked the kind of cobbled streets and all the stuff they had there in that city. Really, really nice. All right. So here we are. Let's take a look at the forces here of the Sons of the Mountain. We do indeed have double archers backed up by bolt throwers, and it looks like it's going to be silver and guard. Yeah, so basically the High Elves bringing a very well-rounded army. So it's not like they're going for like, oh, I handle this aspect of things. It looks just well-rounded. So we have triple bolt throwers. We do also have a couple archers and some cavalry in the front. Silver and guard are going to be the screen with some Skaven slaves high-fiving them and giving them some sweet, sweet love in there. Red Wedding Planner, I will potentially check that out. Thank you so much. Double Assassins, Grey Seer of Plague, and for the Lord of the High Elves, is going to be some true alpha male, like Teclis or excuse me, like Tyrion or more importantly, Eltharion the Grim. No, it's going to be a Larry the Radiant, which is good. She does have Earthblood and what? Tempest? Yeah, Tempest is good against Undead. So now if we look at the forces of the Lizards and the Vampire Counts, it's going to be Mazdamundi, a Sking Chief. We do also have a Mortis Engine, and in the backfield it is going to be Isabella von Karstein. Can the Blood Chalice of Bathorai heal non-undead units? If it can, holy shit, that's strong. Wow, look at that. I think people are just picking up on her power level in 2v2. Look at that. Oh, God, that can heal living units. So the Blood Chalice of Bathorai can heal like 2,500 HP on Lord Mazdamundi. Jesus, that's good. Jesus. I feel like O'Brien from Star Trek. Remember whenever he says, he's like, Jesus. But yeah, that's going to be able to heal the Mazdamundi. So good. We got a couple Blood Knights in the flanks, or Black Knights. Yeah, mostly chaff units. Graveguard, going to be a combination of great weapons and basic variants. Skanks, Lizards mostly have monsters. Man, this is going to be nasty. Very, very nasty for sure. So here we are. Let us know your predictions. Do you think that the Sons of the Mountain will get back on ye old scoreboard? Or will they fall to the might of ODM? And ODM will... Man, if ODM wins this... So we could just show you this real quick before we continue on. ODM has a pretty decent little lead right now. If they're able to win this game, man, they are going to pull ahead so far. And it's going to potentially start getting out of reach for the Sons of the Mountain unless they really pick it up after that. So back to the main battle here. Here we go. Nothing for Tempest to target, but it's not a bad idea. You can run into Pterodon Riders. You can run into a Flying Vampire Lord. Isabella could be on a Hellsteed. So I think bringing the business there. Did I forget to update the score? 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't think so. Yeah. I don't think I did. I think we're good. Let me know, though, if something looks funky. The score is purposefully being kept off the main screen because they keep switching sides, so it would just be a little bit, complicated. So I have a separate scoring sheet for that. But if you guys have any feedback on that, do let me know. Rewatching DS9 for the 12th time right now. Actually, I love DS9. It's such a good show. All right, so the battle is underway. Ladder trauma. Yeah, they're talking about ladder. So for the Skaven weapons teams, we have double Jezzail. We only have one mortar, but we do have a couple Globadiers as well. The Elvish army is moving up a little bit, which might cause some weird obstruction issues. Also, something that's a little bit problematic about using Globadiers with quality front lines is that the High Elf infantry will get friendly fired. So there is going to be some potentially nasty damage there that could cause some big old problems. So the Undead Lizard Alliance is going to be advancing. Jezzail's going downtown into zombies initially, but just a little bit of a, miss micro. You should definitely just turn those off and save the ammo for some of the bigger targets. And obviously Alfredino and Dactyr here are going to be able to keep these units back. They're not gonna get into range until they absolutely have to. Might be able to utilize this low ground too. There's kind of a little bit of a lip here in the valley that Big Chungus can make his way through and just move in and, avoid some of that firepower. In the meantime, Jezzail's shooting into the cavalry. Coldon Riders getting buttered up pretty good there. You can see they are shaken and most certainly stirred as they now pull back. And the Jezzail's going to be switching on to the ROR Skinks. I mean, you don't have too many good choices at the moment to shoot, so might as well. But Jezzail's really need to be switching on to the big dinos and or the Mortis Engine as soon as that is possible. Jezzail's on the other side, shooting into Skink cohorts, and you can already see some of them are down to about 90% ammunition. And it is going to be going down quite a bit quicker. So again, I would really make sure to save that and just use your Poison Wind mortars to blast the various chaff units away. That is what they're much more effective at. So Jezzail's do line up their sights, and now they're shooting at the Skink Chief, which is a very, very good choice, taking out the big boys here. But with the Blood Chalice of Bathora able to heal them, man, Isabella really, really proving to be an incredibly powerful 2v2 character. Yeah, it's some crazy stuff. So Globadier Fire coming in. But honestly, they're probably going to lose more value. If Silver and Guard and Spearmen are getting hit with Globadier Fire, it's like actually worse. Like the zombies are like doing more damage, right? Ruination of Cities going down. Pretty good. It does break the chaff of the Skaven Slaves. And now we get the Skink Chief moving in as all Jezzail fire has been focused on this wing. So Jezzail's here shooting, Jezzail's here. One of my big concerns too is there's not that much mass in this army. Here we get some Reavers battling Black Knights in the back, but like, what are the Wolf Rats going to do? Wolf Rats will lose to Dire Wolves. Dire Wolves are unbreakable, especially Dire Pack. They have better stats, right? Well, the Wolf Rats get a nice little initial jump, but like this whole backfield is just going to get sandwiched. And I'm sure that the ODM team just has a full chub right now. They're like, oh god, look at all the value back here. We have the Jezzails, we have the Globes, we have the artillery, all standing on top of each other. And there's no Dragon Princes or Rat Ogres to protect it. So like this probably is going to be an extremely fast game. I think that the Sons of the Mountain will probably have their backfield overwhelmed in a matter of seconds. Defending relatively well, with the Wolf Rats here at least. They were able to kind of fend off some of the threats, but shit is going to get wild now. You can see Globadiers are in melee. Jezzail's here are shattered. Reavers also broken by the Black Knights. Reavers don't have the best armor piercing, so Black Knights are able to win with their 80 armor. That's usually the deciding factor there. Larry appears to be dropping a heal here, and the dreaded 13 spell coming in as well, really just to kind of accentuate it. That will give them some halberd presence against some of the cavalry units. I mean, I guess if they lose this but stabilize this side, maybe, but you can also see the Natty Boo-Boo sharpshooters here are compromised. The Globadiers here are also being taken apart by Graveguard with great weapons. It seems like the alliance of lizards and undead is just too much, and they're just steamrolling over this army, although the Bounce Fire isn't really reflecting that yet. I suppose that's because the Skaven have this nice little hero squad, the Grey Seer and the Assassins, but Larry, god, she's probably just running for the hills right now, and a couple spears are holding, but all of the damage-dealing elements of that army are more or less, offline at this point. Mazda Mundi getting the Von Hell's Dance Kebab as they continue to fight and get that juicy melee attack buff. Both Assassins are going to be going after Mazda Mundi. Complex Assassin sending in the Grey Seer Plague as well. Will Mazda turn and fight? He probably could, but with Larry in there as well, they're all going after Mazda, so it would appear that the Sons of the Mountain have made the call to go after Lord Mazda Mundi. Cavalry in the backfield for Alfredino, as well as Dactyr, still continuing to just ravage into the lines, and I think that's got to be it soon. I have no idea why the Bounce Fire isn't worse. Like, I don't see anything left except like a couple Haggard Spear units. And what's also even worse is that there's a Mortis Engine online. So the Mortis Engine being alive in the late game, it doesn't matter. Like, whatever infantry you have, it could be Chosen riding on Chosen, and you name it. It's not going to matter. The Mortis Engine will drain them all to pieces. I think it's mainly the Skaven Assassins and, the Grey Seer and things like that. Here we do have the Graveguard moving over, the Shield of the Old Ones lending their aid to battle. Larry the Radiant, potentially going to be getting targeted by the big Stegodon beasts here, as you can see the Skink Chief looks to be going after Larry. Larry going to be getting the business. Isabella von Karstein perhaps going to be coming in as well. Could rear charge and cause some problems. She's not bad in combat. Vampires in general are pretty formidable. I mean, 50, 65, and 480 for weapon strength. I mean, that's some really high weapon strength. She basically just lacks armor piercing. So now the Bounce Fire for the first time is reflecting the true state of the game, in my opinion. The Skaven Assassins, if they could kill this Mortis Engine somehow, like if it just gets trapped here and the Assassins can shank down the Mortis Engine, and the Grey Seer and the Assassins maybe can, bolster Larry and she can pull back and keep healing them through combat, maybe we could see some sort of a comeback. It's hard to say. This is certainly not good, though. Larry does get caught in a net, and then she gets rear charged by Lady Karstein. And the big lizard here, the Skink Chief, going to be getting in there and ramming into Larry as well, and that probably will be her doom. Master Beguilement active, the Mortis Engine coming in as well. The ODM team committing all of their resources to try and win that particular fight, and that appears to be all she wrote. I know I've been saying that for a hot minute, but I think that really is the straw that broke the camel's back, as they lose their healer, lose their legendary lord. The Elves have a couple spears around the battlefield, 44 spears here, some loose Silver and Guard trying to rally. Skinks are just beating down Globadiers, which, oh yeah, 69 of those bad boys, they know how to live. That'll be it. There goes the breaking Skaven leadership. Army losses kicking in, and ODM jumping up to a pretty substantial lead in today's clan war. Double Mortis Engine rule break? No. Because the Grey Seer is not a Mortis Engine. Only Plague Priests are. So there was not double Mortis Engine. So value, Mazda did pretty good. Both the Skink characters did. Dactyr, of course, got some nice Mortis Engine play. Was able to perpetually drain. But really, I mean, Jellyfish and Complex Slayer had so many value pieces. Like 5 weapons teams, plus archers, plus bolt throwers, and they just didn't have the means to protect it. They had no mass, no ogres, no dragon princes, no silver helms. They just basically had their backline annihilated, and that was what cost them the game. So, jumping on over to Ye Old Scorecard, we can get this one going. This one was a little bit further down. It looks like they jumped ahead, but that is going to be a victory for Alfredino and Dactyr, doing ODM proud there in that battle, and we are going to be going up 6-4, or 6-2, excuse me. I'm not sure what they're going to be doing next. It seems like they're doing some of the games out of order, so we'll just hang tight and see what they decide to do here. But currently, the score is 6-2 in favor of ODM. So for the Sons of the Mountain to win, they really need to get a 2v2 win here. Like, there's still a couple 2v2s, I think. No, 1 2v2 and 1 3v3. So the 3v3 is obviously quite huge. Some very, very scary players playing in that. We have Anticity, Chosen One, AC Maiden here versus Predator, Grombrindle, and for Poland. All right. So let's get to the holding screen. Get this going. Let's see what's going down. Looks like it's going to be a 1v1 now, or maybe a 2v2. Let's go ahead and see who joins after this. And who will be winning the first round here of Ye Old Clan War Cup. Very exciting stuff. So excited, as a matter of fact, that I'm going to go ahead and refill my tea. And we should be good to go. Oh no. Anakin, I am too weak. So I'll be back in just a second. Hang tight. Get it going. So guys, quick question. Would you guys like me to insult every English person in chat right now? If so, let me know. I will insult everyone from the UK with one fell blow. I gotta wait to see if you guys want this. All right. I just microwaved my tea. My tea water was microwaved because I'm too lazy to just boil some water right now. I feel like that's like one thing that every English person will be offended by. Oh my god. All right, so for Poland is here. I'm not sure if this is 1v1 or 2v2. Hey, Shesht. All right. Everyone in chat's like, please do it. Oh my god. Yeah. I love how quickly, dude, you guys are such Palpatines, you know? You're like, yes, do it. Misha says, F your microwave tea. God. I just microwaved my tea water. Look at Simon Benjamin, dude. He's like, filthy. Oh, I love it. So good. You are now uninvited from my island. Oh, I love it. I'm sorry, guys. Look, I normally do. Lady Turin got me out of that. Like, she does not let me boil or microwave my tea water, but she she's not here right now. And also, I'm in the middle of a stream, so I don't have time to do it, but that's evil. UFC Fight Night card has started. Yeah, I'll watch it afterwards. Yeah. You guys probably thought I was going to actually say something offensive, didn't you? You know, that's not how I roll. But I knew that would, like, every English person would just... Yeah, they would feel that. Tea is holy, that one goes in the book. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so it looks like we have our 2v2 here. If I'm not mistaken. Let's go ahead and double check here. Yeah, it's for Poland and Markello. So let me go ahead and switch back. Make sure they're on the right side. I just need to switch this. Update. and we can go to the battle scorecard. All right, all set. Misha says you leave me no choice. I must ban you for the greater good. Yeah, I actually don't microwave anything like outside of that. If I'm like desperate and I need hot water quick, we used to have like a thermos thing that heated it up, which was more proper, but unfortunately it broke. You definitely said something offensive. Yeah. It's herbal tea. Yeah, it's herbal tea. Because if I drink caffeine while I'm casting, it makes my voice like tighter and it's harder to project for like long periods of time. You never watched a Clan War? It's a pretty fun format here on the channel. Yeah, this is going in the book. Yeah, you've called the witch hunters. I know, I'm in trouble. Or is this a 1v1? It's hard to tell right now. I think it's a 1v1. Okay, this is a 1v1. So we will go ahead and fix this. Set this up here. Go back to large funds. And the map in question is going to be the pillar. Oh, the Bone Zone, baby. We're going to the Bone Zone. It's my favorite map. I love the Bone Zone. It's a classic. All right, so let's just update the nameplates here. For Poland, the Winged Hussars, the Lancers have arrived. And he's going to be facing off against Papra. All right, very cool. I think we're all set. Just got to adjust the nameplates ever so slightly. So this is a 1v1. The score currently is 6-2. So the 1v1, it's still, you know, all these games add up. And it is going to be Lizards versus Dark Elves. Yeah, so my wife is in Poland right now, actually. So she's coming back soon. But when she's gone, I resort to my primal ways of microwaving water for tea. Yeah. I love chamomile tea. Yeah, absolutely. Turin is a monster. F in chat for Turin tea. When the Winged Hussars arrive. Yeah. Here we are. Let's do it, man. We have the glorious Bastillodons with the solar engines. A very, very classic meta pick coming in here for the Lizards. Going to be facing off against the Druki. Will they go with the dreaded Ice Power Total War style of play, which is Marathi double Manticore in every single matchup? It would appear not. Papra seems to have a scheme of their own. Survivor clone, I'm not that interested in Bannerlord right now, honestly. If Bannerlord adds the Warhammer mod, I'll definitely do some multiplayer events with that. Definitely will. Yeah, Dimitri, man, I feel so much better when I don't drink coffee, like, on a normal basis. But, I mean, it's such an addiction. Like, I actually, like, man, really look forward to it. Whenever I go on road trips or, like, a long drive or something, I'll definitely pound some coffee, though. I'm not, like, that out of it, you know? Just on days where I have to work, though, I don't have it. And, you know, I work more or less 5 or 6 days a week, so. Yes, yes. So, taking a look here at the hordes of the Druki. We have 2 Dark Shards. Dark Shards, of course, give you some stopping power against monsters, but a little bit vulnerable against Solar Engines. But to counter Solar Engines, Papra does have the double Reaper Bolt Thrower. In the backfield, we have Cold One Dread Knights. Oh, the dreaded Dread Knights. I can actually say that. Yes. Check this shit out. The Cold One Dread Knights are here, and it's one of the few times I can actually say that word where it actually is applicable. Very cool. Marathi, of course, being the most meta pick. She's just so good. And now if we look here at the forces of For Poland, cool thing about him is he actually qualified for tomorrow's Faction War. So tomorrow we have a huge Faction War event, and For Poland qualified for the Lizardmen spot. So we're going to be seeing our Lizardmen Faction War champion here. He's got double Solar Engine, couple of Sara Spears, I think, or actually just Warriors to defend the back line, cohorts and chaff units in the front, and a massive vanguard of Chameleon Stalkers, which are very good against Elves. Chameleon Stalkers with their precursor ammunition can just absolutely annihilate Dread Spears and Bleak Swords and Chameleon Skanks. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a tutorial video on how to make tea, and I'm just going to like microwave it and just mangle it. That would be so funny. Oh my god. I think my wife would leave me. She would just be done. Yes. Glorious stuff. So the fighting is underway. The Bastillodons with the Arcs of Sotek. Now, a big mistake a lot of Lizard players make is they get too close with their Bastillodons. What they need to be doing is sitting back. If they get in range of the Dark Shards, that's going to give the Dark Elves such an unnecessary advantage. Right now, I mean, they could be shooting right now. I don't know why For Poland is advancing up with his Bastillodons, because they're going to get in range of Dark Shards, and then suddenly you have to turn and run, and you're just losing so much time in your shooting. And it looks like they're going after Marathi, which I think is another mistake. She's very mobile and hard to hit, but yeah, going after the Dark Shards is certainly a very, very good choice. So the Dark Shards have advanced up. Are they in range of the Bastillodons? Not quite. Looks like they are shooting into the skink cohorts with javelins. Don't spread the plague. Yeah, it's pretty fun. Classic stuff. Oxyotl is in Master Predator farm, so he's basically going to be sitting here with his 20% range and just sitting and poking at Morathi would be a good choice for him. His fire is a little bit more direct, harder to juke, so Oxyotl could sit up here in the sky and shoot at Morathi. So one of the Bastillodons is in range here of Ye Old Dark Shards for Poland, just pushing aggressively with everything. It looks like Crows of Cain getting in there, but man, look at how effective Chameleon Stalkers are. What nasty shit. They're able to just cut through these Dread Spears with their precursor ammunition and their combat prowess. And there's more, right? They can get in the backfield. One of the Reaper Bolt Throwers has been taken offline by the Solar Engine Focus Fire. So these laser lizards have certainly done their part there. In the meantime, we just got a bunch of ugly blob fights. Really, we got Dread Knights piling in to fight Saurus Warriors. Dread Knights will hit pretty hard, and they do have good armor piercing, so they can get through the 60 armor of the Saurus Warriors. But looks like the dreaded Dread Knight's going to be pulling back. For Poland does send his Skink Priest up a little bit aggressively. Could potentially be picked off here, but one of the Bastillodons is actually routing. But that thing probably will come back. So for the Lizards, I think one of the biggest things is to try and effectively take out that Bolt Thrower. Over here on the flank, Morathi popping Soul Stealers. It does hit the Skink cohorts as well as the Chameleon Stalkers, who continue to just cause a ton of problems. And as a matter of fact, Chameleon Skink's doing an excellent job picking apart the very lightly armored Crows of Cain. So we will sit. Instead of dropping a biscuit, he'll drop a Hershey into it. Oh no, that's too much even for me. I don't even like chocolate that much. I mean, I guess I like brownies, but in general, yeah, not much of a chocolate guy. So. Bastillodon Solar Engine, just pop it into the Dread Knights. The Dread Knights are decent targets. Solar Engines don't have the craziest armor piercing, but nonetheless, I mean, they hit hard enough that they can outright kill models on a Dread Knight cavalry unit. But it looks like Papra has gotten through the front line with the Dread Knights, which is very problematic. If the Dread Knights are actually able to get past this and jump on top of the Bastillodon, that could be a big issue. And the Druki actually winning this fight here. I really thought the Lizards would be able to brute force through it with the Saurus, but the Dread Knights were able to bounce back and forth and cause actually a fair amount of problems. And a big mistake with the Solar Engines, they basically were in range of Dark Shards, taking a substantial amount of fire. But I think why for Poland did that was to try and get in range of the Reaper Bolt Throwers to take them out. So I understand his line of thinking for sure. But the Dark Elves are pulling ahead in the bounce of power here as the Dread Spears continue to push back the Bastillodons. And the Dread Knights are just bouncing around and actually doing a really good job. I'm super impressed with Papra's Dread Knight play. I really like it. Curious about the value they've accrued so far. I mean, look at that. 134 kills, only 800 value, but they're still doing a really good job at clearing out the chaff units, and they hit incredibly hard, these clever girls. Dark Shards are moving up. That's also a big issue for the remaining Lizardman force. The Dark Shards are going to be a pretty inexorable force, just moving up and dropping some really, really solid armor-piercing shots into anything they find. The little Skink Priest of Beast here trying his best, but he is getting pounded. I think that's probably going to be game, though. I don't see too many avenues for the Lizards to get back into this. I mean, most of their infantry are routed and broken and or low quality. And when games devolve into like a massive battlefield kind of scramble like this, it's going to favor the army with the better mobility, and that is the Dread Knights. 33 here and 29 here, hammering into the Skink cohort javelins. And here we get the Chameleon Stalkers with the precursor ammunition. They were really solid this game. For Poland had a really, really nice play with his precursors, but they weren't quite able to penetrate into the back line. Papra was just barely able to secure his backfield. Despite losing one bolt thrower early, he did a really good job of that. So here you go. Morathi dueling Oxyotl, the Doomslayer of Warhammer Fantasy, is going to be hunted down by Big Mama Morathi. And she will be dropping the base on him, and that will be all she wrote. So, yes. GG, well played. GG, well played. You know what would be the worst thing? If you guys want real heresy, if you want real heresy as it pertains to tea, let me go ahead and break this down and then I'll explain it to you. But yeah, I honestly like the army. I did like this army. I just think the Bastillodons got countered pretty effectively by the bolt throwers, but also having to be in Dark Shard range, I think maybe keeping them back and just eating the bolt throwers, but pounding the Dark Shards could have been quite big. Or even just pounding the Dread Knights, who didn't get crazy value, but they still had a big presence on the battlefield. Yeah, overall, GG, well played. Both those players put up a great fight there. And looks like ODM, another one here on Ye Old Board. So ODM is up 7-2, proving to be a big front runner in this Clan War Cup that is going to be ongoing. Of course, I'll be casting the other rounds. I'll be casting Sons of the Mountain versus BBB, as well as BBB versus ODM, and all of those glorious battles. But for now, it is 7-2 in favor of ODM. So here we go, switching back while we get ready for the next match. And let's do it to it. All right. So we got the Mihawk in here. So he is going to be on the Sons of the Mountain. We have a Dark Elf versus Norska battle now. Very, very cool. So I'm just going to update this. Versus, it's going to be Hanadins. Looks good to me. Switching back to the battle lobby. Just got to adjust the names ever so slightly, and we're all set, my friends. Okay. Grombrindle played. Yeah, he lost in the first round versus Razel. Yeah. It was a good match. So the Bone Zone, my favorite map, has passed. If I had my choice, every map would be Bone Zone in tournaments. I would just make everyone only play on Bone Zone. We're going to be on Carrick Ungor next. All right, so the Heresy. If you want the Heresy pertaining to tea, you guys thought it was worse. You thought the worst thing possible would be to microwave the tea water. If you want to make it even worse, you microwave the tea water, then you get just like a disgusting American ballpark Frank hot dog, just like one of those cheap processed hot dogs, and you dip the hot dog in the tea. And like, you know, swirl it around in there a little bit. Now that is actually full on heresy. That would be so disgusting too. Oh my God. Like hot dog water. Oh, hot dog tea. That's like a true American abomination. Yeah. All right, loading in. The Sons of the Mountain really need this one. The Mihawk certainly has a lot of pressure on his back. Quintus Fontaine is just aghast with disgust. Why are you like this? I don't know, man. It's just oh God, dude. Some grease for added flavor. Is this a thing you've done? No, I've never actually done that, for the record, all right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've never actually done that. My mind goes to some dark places sometimes, guys. If you wonder why I might seem like such a Boy Scout in many ways, it's because I have these repressed thoughts. We call that an American toddy. That sounds cursed. Nurgle shudders in fear. Yeah, I know, he should. He's got nothing on me, dude. All right, so for the forces of the Druki here in this Norscan matchup, Bleak Swords, Dreadspears, Basic Chaff, double K8 Assassins, they're just pretty good against Norska. Norska has a shit ton of light armor, and K8 Assassins are really good against light armor. Very tough to kill. We do also have double Manticore and Marathi, very meta, backed up by a bunch of Cold One Knights. So very simplistic Dark Elf build, very meta, I would say, and incredibly strong. I've never actually done that. Okay, if you want to know one of the grossest combos I did when I was in college. So I was in college, and at the time we didn't have a lot of food in our apartment, and I think I was kind of tight on money at the time. So my roommate Paul, who's an absolute homie, he had peanut butter in the fridge, or maybe I did, I can't remember. But anyways, it might have been, I can't remember where the peanut butter came from. Peanut butter and jellies were my jam. So I actually had hot dog. Like all I had was hot dogs and peanut butter in the apartment, nothing else. So basically I covered the hot dogs in peanut butter to like get extra calories out of it. So that was pretty gross. And I remember eating that and being like, this is fucking disgusting. Anthony, thank you for the $5. But that was definitely more in like the foul territory. Yeah. Yeah. So like a hot dog, like I got a knife and spread peanut butter on it. Yeah. That was really gross. There was like no bread or anything because I didn't have it in the apartment at the time. Yeah. That was something. You guys love it. All right, so for the Norscan army, we've got Marauders backed up by a Shaman Sorcerer of Death, Berserkers and Javelins in the secondary, and a shit ton of Marauder Horsemen with double Manticore. So we do have the double Manticore duel. However, it will favor the Dark Elves because they have Marathi up in the sky. But the Forces of Chaos here, the Norskins do indeed have their Horsemaster support corps on the ground, and they can do it. Why not eat them separately? That's a great question. You know, at the time, I think I was just trying to be like more efficient about it. Yeah. Why do you hurt us in this way? I mean, yeah, it wasn't, I don't know. It was pretty gross. Because they were like cheap hot dogs, you know? Yeah. They were cheap hot dogs. They were like the cheap small ones, you know? Like you can tell the difference in quality pretty quick with hot dogs in America. Yes, this is what happens when Lady Turin isn't here for a prolonged period of time. I just devolve into I devolve into a monkey. All right, so the battle's underway. Sorry, guys. I'm getting out of control. I'm pretty hungry myself right now, so I'm getting a little bit loopy. The K8 Assassin actually gets surrounded by the Beast of Tashnar. A little bit problematic, but I think he'll get away. Yeah, he did have Web of Shadows he could have dropped as well to do some AoE damage, but the Dark Elves actually looking to press the issue and fight the fight. Norska moving up as well. Marauders against Bleak Swords. I'm curious who actually wins that. I think Bleak Swords might have a little bit of a stat advantage, but it's probably a pretty close fight. Coldwood Knights also scooting up. Coldwood Knights are usually designed to deal with, like, you know, Fimir, Mammoths, you know, Condom Wolves, all that kind of stuff like that. These are the anti-large variants, so it can still do okay shock damage against infantry. So now the Dark Elf infantry has piled in. Norska, especially with Brutes of the Hound, will be able to cut through pretty damn quickly, but it looks like there is going to be a cavalry engagement. The Coldwood Knights shall be couching their lances and getting in there and riding through the Berserkers, and the Berserkers certainly will be taking quite a bit of damage from that. Let's go ahead and double check that. Not as much as you think, but still reasonable. And the other Coldwood Knights surge into the secondary line, and oh, really, really nice Seafang. Not Seafang, but what the hell is that thing called? The Longship, the pirate ship, Wolfric's Haggard Norscan Longship. Did some really nice damage against the Bleak Swords as well as the Coldwood Knights. The Coldwood Knights also overextend into the backfield of Norska a little bit, and it's a little bit problematic. Definitely better for Hanadins, in my opinion, because of the Spirit Leech and the follow-up from the Marauder Hunter Javelins. So they are able to get some really nice poke, and also the other Horse Masters are effectively kiting some of the Coldwood Knights. Coldwood Knights also can rampage and get trapped in, let's say, suboptimal engagements. So now back here to this fight, we do have the double Feral Mancores, and they are going to be going after ye old Shaman Sorcerer. The Dark Elves definitely want to be some gooning. They are having a couple rough engagements with their cavalry here. Coldwood Knights being dragged into sustained melee, and the Shaman Sorcerer, getting rid of him, does get rid of the Burning Head, which can save the remainders of your chaff units. But mainly for Dark Elves, it is going to be devolving into a game where their SEMs are going to carry. The Khanate Assassins and the Manticores are really most of the bulk of the finances of this army. So, you know, having them carry the day is going to be potentially the way here. So, okay, we got Manticore rampaging fight. So one Manticore does rampage into the Norscan Manticore, but Beasts of Tashnar are going to be very, very good here. They have anti-large, really, really good at chewing down these type of units, but they do rout. So that's very, very fortunate for the forces here of Mihawk. Now, Marathi piling in, Shaman Sorcerer getting punted and shattered into the Shadow Realm, and the Manticore of Norska actually does get broken by the superior Dark Elf Goon Squad, which is very, very strong. But nice Javelin Corps coming in. So Hanadins does have double Marauder Hunter Javelins, which will super, super effectively hunt these Manticores if they're sitting still. And they're rampaging, so that's going to be just a super easy target. Now, looking around the battlefield, the cavalry is another X factor, of course, for the forces of the Dark Elves. But trying to get away. Wolfric getting hunted down by Marathi. Horseric the Wanderer going to be getting attacked by a superior duelist, which is kind of sad that the Hunter of Champions can... I guess he could probably fight Marathi in a 1v1 duel, even on horseback, pretty well. But, I mean, with the magic and her debuffs, it's so scary. He's actually broken, and I think that's going to potentially be giving a lead. No, he actually survives. He gets away, and the Manticore and the Shaman are able to protect him. And Marathi actually takes a little bit of damage in that engagement. So Horseric the Wanderer trying to get away, but Big Mama is hunting its Big Mama's house, and we're going to see if she is able to indeed finish off Wolfric. She might want to be careful, though. I think she's going a little bit too aggressive with this. I think Mihawk might want to get away here and just kind of play a little bit more of a conservative gooning type game. Like, use the Khanate Assassins that you have in the wings, 1 and 2, to snipe Wolfric and to snipe the Manticores. Maybe secure them. I think that might be the more important decision here. Nonetheless, it looks like Norska is pulling a little bit ahead in this battle with Marathi having taken so much damage, but we've seen this many times in this game, right? Where basically, well, not in this game per se. Well, Dark Elf games is what I meant to say. Where essentially the Dark Elves are behind, but then there's just one big, fat, juicy Soul Stealer that wins the day. This is quite a good one, too. It's going to hit to Marauder and plus Ice Wolf units and Beast of Tashnar. It will not be hitting the Manticore because the Manticore was not in the aura when the spell was cast. Different AoEs work in different ways, but in this particular case, they need to be in the initial aura. So Soul Stealer does heal up Marathi and pulls the Bounce of Power back to the middle. And Wolfric the Wanderer does get the Wand of Koraidon blasted on his head, so he is running with 292 HP. Khanate Assassin here, kind of getting beat up by the Horsemen, but it looks like the Khanate Assassin should be able to win this. A really, really important play for Hanadins would probably be to grab some Hound units and swarm the Khanate Assassin. The Norscan Ice Wolves hit very hard with 40 plus weapon strength, and they could probably kill this Khanate Assassin very, very quickly. So now, as far as what Dark Elves have left, we do have Marathi, a couple Dread Spears, and that looks to be mostly it, aside from the Khanate Assassin here. Looks like the other one might have gotten Karate Chop somewhere and is being chased off. For Norska, we got a pretty formidable army still. We have a lot of Javelins, we have a Manticore, we have Hound units, and a lot of Marauder infantry. It's looking like Norska is in a pretty commanding position, and that immediately is reflected. As soon as Marathi, which was the last bastion of strength for the Dark Elves, gets hammered by the Javelins, that pretty much ends the game in terms of the balance of power. So GG, well played. Norska going to be claiming a wild victory. I feel like we never see Norska. As a matter of fact, I haven't seen Norska in so long that I forgot the name of Wolfric's boat. So it's been some time. It's been a long road getting from here to there, but we have made it. Anyone who gets that reference gets a cookie. Cool. I liked both armies, honestly. Came down, I think some of the cavalry engagements didn't really generate much value, but yeah, the javelins and the ranged assets and the marauder horsemen were just so good. Normally, I think like what Mihawk maybe needed was to cut like a couple dread spears. You cut your 2 dread spears, or cut like a bleak sword and a dread spear, right? Then cut a cold one knight and get like 2 or 3 repeater crossbows. You needed he needed that like mobile missile play to like play against the horsemen and the manticores and those different units. So that is that. GG, well played. We're gonna go and update the score. Let's have some fun. And man, oh man, ODM really, really in a dominant position here as they are up 8-2. Taking a look at the remaining possible points, 2 and 5. So I actually think it is not winnable for the Sons of the Mountain at this point. If they win the 2v2 and the 3v3, that will give them 5 points, which will put them up to 7. So I think ODM has more or less won the event. I don't know if tiebreakers are going to be a thing, so we'll see. Well, I'm sure we're going to keep playing just to get the games in, but I think that more or less is the current state of affairs there. So loading back across. Let's go ahead and check it out. Yeah, very, very strong performance today. Absolutely. You still got to get the moral victory, though. You gotta push back and keep trying to do it. So it looks like we're going to be doing the 2v2 now. So this is going to be, let me find this. Sons of the Mountain versus ODM here. Probably looking like it's some GGs, but there's plenty more games to come if you guys are, of course, interested in that. Now we can switch on over. Cool. So they're getting in position. Well played to both sides. Certainly some crumping going on. Absolutely. Absolutely. Been some good close games. Yeah, good old Wulfric. Yeah, Wulfric's a really cool character. His tabletop model's pretty funny too. It's very dated, but it still has a lot of that old Games Workshop charm to it. So the Sons of the Mountain, can they get back on the board? Shidoku, take your time, no rush. Let's see what they can do. It's going to be quite a bit of fun, you know, getting to the later stages of the Clan Cup and seeing who makes it to the grand finale. Seeing the schemes of how they'll arrange their teams and their 2v2s, and adding in a wild 3v3 is also quite interesting. So, if I remember correctly, this needs to be 10,000 gold. So the custom funds here are going to be 10,000 gold per player. We'll go from there. Shidoku, no worries. Take your time, man. We can all hang out and enjoy each other's company. So, hold on one sec, guys. I'll be right back. I gotta go get my microwave tea water. Put a tea bag in it. You guys ready for some microwaved water that I'm not going to let brew at all? I'm just going to put the bag in and start drinking. It's the true abomination. Hammond, thank you for the $2. The Witcher versus the Knights of Toussaint. I don't know who that second one is, though. Yeah. You guys knew it was coming eventually. I just had to let it cool down a little bit because the microwave like really like baked that water, you know, with radiation. Yeah. I will sip it on the mic. No, I'll keep that away from the mic. I don't want to be that annoying. Jeez. Looks like the players are resetting. Yeah, we used to have an electric kettle. We used to have one, but it broke. So that's why I've devolved into my monkey status. I'm pretty sure someone from ODM used the Quaddle Stegodon combo on you the other night. Yeah, it sounds about right. They could probably pull it off. They're certainly strong enough players. So are we doing the 3v3 first? It looks like we might. Yeah, okay, so we're doing the 3v3. Let me go ahead and double check the funds for the 3v3. See if it's there's any like special rules. Yeah, looks like Chosen One is here. How many funds for 3v3? Let's see what they say. Let's do it to it. All right, so the ODM team is in. Sons of the Mountain are on their way in. I asked them the total amount, 10K. All right, so it's 10,000 still, so nothing has changed. 3v3 should be pretty fun. I wonder what map they chose for this. Let's go ahead and check. Looks like it's going to be on Peak Pass. Okay, cool. MP Peak Pass. Map you don't see terribly often, actually. I can't remember the last time I've seen it. I think it's kind of an underrated map, though. You can use a stovetop. I can, but the thing is, I'm in the middle of a live stream, so I don't want to like be boiling. You know, have that running and then like be in the middle of a game and all that stuff. So, see, Cabras with his donation of $4.99 is certainly a man of class and culture. Chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water. Classic Limp Bizkit album. Taking it back to the old school. Yeah. This is the epic 3v3. So it looks like we got... Yes, this is the thing about team games. I like the alliances system way more because it's easier to cast and see what's going on. Because it's like there's determined alliances, so you know like who's on whose side. Like usually good versus evil or undead versus elves, etc., etc. But here we have Skaven, Coast, and High Elves versus Coast, Bretonnia, and Greenskin. Pretty cool. Mortis Engine, Grombrindle probably going to go Fae. Fae is really good here. And yeah, lots of neat stuff. I'm not calling Chosen One his correct name. Yeah, that's true. I'm not. Sorry. I am not. Man, looking back on Limp Bizkit, like the culture, that was so cringy. Jesus. But there's a couple Limp Bizkit songs that even nowadays I could like see and be like and listen to and still enjoy. Be like, okay, I could still get down to that. Yeah, it's pretty cool. That was a fun stream. Unlucky. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'm sure the Sons of the Mountain will be back. I mean, ODM is, of all the clans that are playing, there's 4 groups. So what? I mean, I think there's like 12 or 13 or 14 clans playing. I'm not quite sure of the number. ODM is probably one of the favorites. Like one of the like they constantly have people in the top of tournaments and winning tournaments. They are such a good clan. And Sons of the Mountain are an amazing clan as well. But ODM certainly a favorite in the tournament overall. So it's definitely a tough first lot to pull, but they put up a good fight in a lot of these games today. And I'm sure they got more fight left in them as we get into this match here. All right. Look at what Grombrindle says. And this is why the Sons of the Mountain are awesome. He's like, Predator, follow the King's banner down the center. For Poland, take your company right after the pass. Yeah, that's pretty good. Classic Lord of the Rings reference in there by Grombrindle. Nick, yes. The Chosen One meme is from a movie called Kung Pao Enter the Fist. Yes. Which is a parody of like, old Kung Fu movies and stuff. Yeah. Best with Hand of Glory. Have I seen Fred Durst? No, New Look. I haven't actually, no. I don't keep tabs on the Fred Durst. Although there was a guy that looked like Fred Durst when I was out last night. Yeah, Gawk them, that's acceptable. I mean, look, Nutella is good on like everything. Nutella is so good. Nutella is delicious. All right, the Peak Pass is the map. Yeah, it's a pretty good one. I should start using this in more of my events. It's pretty big. Has nice little terrain features, some like forests on the side that you can work with. Nothing that's like terribly easy to abuse and things like that. So this is the 2v2. Professor Pone just like heard Kung Pao and he like rose from his crypt. You know how like in the haggard old vampire movies, the vampires are like laying flat and then they like stand up perfectly straight with their arms folded? That's what Pone just did when he heard Kung Pao mentioned. Yeah. I used to binge watch Kung Pao. My friend Mac and I would watch it like every day. Let's see. That was a movie I binge watched as a kid. Also, Joe Dirt was another one that's where I got my love for mullets. I used to like love Joe Dirt when I was a kid. That movie is just so haggard and great. Little Nicky was another one. You guys remember Little Nicky, Mr. Beefy, the talking bulldog? Like Mr. Beefy. Yeah, those were some magical times. Ooh, your question. Favorite moment in Kung Pao? Probably the Wimp Lo, the guy that they train wrong as a joke. That's one of my favorite parts when he's just like all terrible. They're like, we purposely trained him wrong as a joke. Yeah, he's just all useless. Yeah, good times. Good times indeed. Yeah, Joe Dirt was a fun movie. That mullet was super powerful. And that obviously it's he's wearing a wig, but it was yeah, those are some good times, huh? See, you guys know I see some folks in chat who remember the glory of the early 2000s. Do you remember in Shogun 2 where terrain could win you battles? Oh yeah, I mean, even in Warhammer it can. Like, if you have the high ground or, like, a forest advantage, like, there's... Oh yeah, it can definitely win it. And Shogun 2 multiplayer, though, I can't remember. I played a lot of Shogun 2 multiplayer, and I don't remember running into as much corner camping or, like, draw kiting. It just didn't seem to be as much of a thing in that game. Although maybe you guys had a different experience. Yeah. Yeah, good times. I am bleeding, making me the victor. Yeah, it's so good. Yeah, when Joe Dirt finds, like, he thinks, like, some, like, meteor came down from, like, the, you know, from space, and it's, like, some rare find, but it actually turns out to just be, like, an airplane dropping its, like, septic material. Yeah, it's pretty good. What's the biggest difference between Warhammer multiplayer and single player? Ooh, I mean, that's a pretty broad question. Generally, it's I mean, it's the AI, you know. In multiplayer, you have to play like a living, breathing, thinking foe who's ever evolving, and it's a constant new challenge. Whereas in campaign, there's a rigid system that the AI follows on all their factions, more or less, with minor nuances. That if you can conquer that, you just will always pretty much win, unless you just mess around. Yeah, so I would just say the AI, obviously. Yeah. Shogun 2 had more camping on capture points, which I think is totally fine. I think that's good. I actually like capture points a lot because it forces people out of turtles. You know, Michael Jai White. Oh yeah, he's got some fun movies. The AI is a bit smarter. So we're loading in. Somebody may have crashed. It is a dreaded 3v3, which of course is kind of inevitable that there are issues, right? You're going to run into 7 connections. It's, you know, people from Poland and, you know, Western Europe and America and Canada. Shit's going to get pretty crazy. Yeah. Really excited for Game 3, though, man. I'm just counting the days. Give it to me, precious. Little Nicky, I feel like, is a really underrated Adam Sandler movie. Like, you know, there's the classics like Billy Madison and, you know, all those ones that were, like, more, like, mainstream. You know? Oh, my God. Yeah, there were some really, really good ones, but... Little Nicky is quite underrated. Definitely underrated, in my opinion. I think Little Nicky came out in like 2000. The other Adam Sandler movies were like in the okay. Looks like someone dropped from the game, which is fine. So we'll just rehost the lobby. So let's see. Oh wow, no, a player from each team was dropped from the game. So AC Madden and for Poland were dropped. I can't quit yet, unfortunately, because I'm the spectator. So I just have to suffer and wait. I just have to suffer and wait. Looks like they're trying to load again. Basically, it just like drops the players who have connection issues, and then it goes again. You know what's weird is like Adam Sandler's movies, like mid 2000s, like kind of after he did Mr. Deeds, most of them are like pretty bad, like just god awful. I think the worst one is the one where he plays a character, and then he also plays his like obese sister who's just like super obnoxious. I remember that one being just terrible. Can't even remember its name. Like even the terrible Adam Sandler movies, like just because I grew up in a time where that kind of like humor was funny, like I still kind of enjoy some of them. I can like the Don't Mess with the Zohan was another one that was like really corny, but it was also like had some funny moments, you know, but it was just so stupid. Yeah. Yeah, Waterboy is an amazing movie. That's like an all-time classic. All right. Still having some connection issues. I'm just gonna wait it out here though, because I don't want to like freeze my shit when I'm on stream. So I'm gonna stay the course. Jack and Jill, yeah, that movie was a huge piece of shit. 100%. Yeah, that one was really bad. I remember not finding any solace in that movie, just being like, there's literally nothing here. Yeah. What can you do? So yeah, we'll hang tight here for a minute, my friends. We can take a look at the score for the tournament. You can see the current standings. The green highlights indicate which side won each respective matchup, and yeah. Yeah, Longest Yard was fun. I enjoyed that. Longest Yard was a fun movie. Okay, maybe I just force quitter here. I don't know. Sounds good. No problem. Yeah, it's just like keeps like cycling here. So maybe I just gotta like force quit it. All right, bear with me a second. I'm gonna rehost. Go to the holding screen. I have to do the dreaded force quit now. Hopefully it doesn't ruin anything. And where the hell is Warhammer? There it is. All right. Cool. So gonna rehost the lobby now. I was like stuck in an eternal cycle of doom there. Doom has come. Tremble, mortals, and despair. Have you seen Silent Place? No, I don't know if I have. Maybe. Are most Sandler movies part of a decades-long money laundering scheme? If that's the case, that's really funny. Yeah, I don't know. All right, so getting back into the next match. Oh, Wedding Singer is a classic. Yeah, Wedding Singer is a classic. Yeah, that was a good one. I love when he like teaches the old lady to like you know, in the music lessons, and she just like pays him in meatballs. She just like gets a meatball out of her thing and just puts it in his hand. I love that. That part was like so funny. All right, so rehosting here. Oh no, the dreaded musician neighbors are bumping their music. Just hopefully you guys aren't able to hear it. If that's the case, if you can, I will call and tell them to chill out for a minute. All right, so the lobby is reset for the 3v3. It's been rehosted. Damn, they joined fast. Holy shit. These gentlemen are good to go. I think I just got to switch sides. Can't wait to move out of this place, Jesus. All right, so we are all set. Just got to do the map, which is a Karak map, I think. No, MP Peak Pass. Just letting the players know the lobby is back up and we're good to go. Not too loud, so don't worry. Okay, good. I can, but you've got headphones on, I know. Welcome to my daily existence. Okay. Looks like they're all getting back in. The whole game just exploded. The end times happened in our lobby. Is it Limp Bizkit? You know, if it was, I would probably enjoy it more. No. I basically live in like a... It's like a multi-unit property, kind of like a townhome of sorts, and it has like 2 units side by side, so we share a wall, and unfortunately I have musicians who live next to me who are just super disrespectful. Like, I'm talking like 1 a.m. randomly sometimes. I'll just hear my wall shaking, and I just have to go bang on their door and tell them to shut up. It's just like, oh my god, it's the worst. Yeah. And sadly, they're family, so, you know, we can't do a whole lot about it. It is what it is. We're planning on moving in the next couple months anyways, so should all come into play. D. Seeley, thank you for the $4.99. Love the alliances format. Can't wait to see a Skaven Greenskin Scourge alliance. Yeah, you know, I'm going to come up with some different alliances. Like niche ones. I was thinking of doing like a high elf teamed up with, you know, like a Lizardmen, like a Great Plan, like, you know, or yeah, something like Lustrian Alliance. There'll be some other ones that I come up with. It's not even the city. Like, living in the city isn't the worst thing in the world. It's just like happens to be my particular neighbors. Yeah. All right, so it looks like the teams are getting more or less ready to go. Let's ready up. Hopefully the potatoes survive this time. Oh shit, I gotta change the funds to 10,000. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Cool, so they got their same build, so just in case anybody saw anything on the way out. Oh, sound palette. Oh, I don't mind, it's just like during the day it's not the worst thing in the world. But it's particularly difficult living next to musicians when we have really thin walls and also what I do for a living, you know, recording. So it's like, it's problematic. Yeah. But it's more so like when I'm trying to sleep at night, like midnight, like 1, 2 a.m., like they just go off. Like they'll come home drunk from parties and just like start playing music. And I'm just like, oh God, please. All right, switching back. You guys can see the factions here. Sorry about the delay. Thanks for hanging around. We had a good time chatting. And here we go. You're basically the old gaffer from Lord of the Rings. You know, at the depth of my soul, I certainly like, I like some adventure, but I have like the soul of a hobbit. Like, I like to stay in, be cozy with my wife, enjoy like tea and good food, and like, but occasionally I get like the Bilbo and Frodo urge to like go on an adventure, like occasionally. So I really do have like the soul of a hobbit. Yeah. I would say that's more so the case. All right. So the Peak Pass is here. Let's go ahead and do it. And have some funs. Have some funses. Hobbitses. I feel like that's a thing. Like when you watch Lord of the Rings when you're like, you know, a young kid, you're kind of like, oh, I want to be a Dunedain, or I want to be like an elf, an immortal elf. But like as you get older, you're like, I just want to like live like a hobbit. You know? Like, does anybody else feel that way, or am I just like an old curmudgeon? Like, do you feel like you've become more like interested in the hobbit lifestyle as you've gotten older? Whereas like when you're younger, you're like, oh, I want to be an immortal elf and, you know, do backflips off off moving boulders like Legolas. Yeah. Hobbits have pretty long lifespans too. I mean, they live quite a bit longer than humans. Madame, thank you for the 25. My boyfriend and I love your channel. Never stop. Hey, we'll keep going. Hope you and your boyfriend are doing well. All the best to you two. And we're going to go hard today. I would love to live in one of those hobbit holes. Thank you so much, Madame. Really appreciate that. We'll keep going hard. I am from the Shire. Technically Lancashire, but still counts. Okay, very cool. It's a Shire of sorts, right? Yeah, being a hobbit would be cool. I mean, but like, I don't know if I'd look. I don't physically want to be a hobbit. Okay, let's be clear here. But I'd like to live the hobbit's lifestyle. Like, I'd still rather have the physical capabilities of like a human, you know, or whatever I am now. But the lifestyle of a hobbit would be fun to live. But I'd like to have the physical prowess of like a different creature. Like if you could live like a hobbit, but have the elvish, you know, longevity and like the physicality of like the Dunedain. Like, that's the shit right there, if we're really getting into it. Yeah. Because, look, if you know, friggin' Saruman wants to come and raise the Shire, I want to be able to fight back. I don't want to, you know, have to go at him with pots and pans like they do, in which is pretty wild, so. Yeah. Thank you, Gojira. Good catch. All right. So, we're here in the dreaded 3v3. We've loaded in, and this time it was... Professor Pone says, Turin, I will take Elrond life with my elf harem. Oh my god. Yeah, being a wizard for sure. All right, being Gandalf. Gandalf kind of has that hobbit mindset. Like, he goes and hangs out with the hobbits. You know, he's smoking his pipe. He's eating well. Gandalf is definitely like an aspiring, you know, life role there. It's the price you have to pay to love the Shire lifestyle. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I have hobbit feet. Yeah. I don't have hobbit feet. My feet are not hairy, so. Yeah, dwarves are badass too, for sure. The poor dwarves are always just getting like displaced. Like, you know, the dragon like takes the Misty Mountains, and then like Moria just gets overwhelmed. Like, they just have such a rough run there, you know. All right. So let's get into Warhammer. Sorry for the ranting. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. I don't know. I always wonder if it's like annoying when we digress like that, or if you guys enjoy it, but I don't know. So, Larry the Radiant, going to be healing up Noctilus, double Gunnery White. We have a Grey Seer Plague and double Assassins. So, really powerful character squad for sure. Going to be backed up by Queen Bess, Giselles, and Mortars. And honestly, a pretty solid, formidable little army. Just taking advantage of some of the most powerful hero combos. And yeah, that's it. And this is the ODM army. Now, looking at the Sons of the Mountains. Currently, of course, don't have a chance of winning the tournament, but can certainly win the hearts of the people. With... your boy, King Lewin. Oh, an erect Bretonnian army. Look at the cavalry. The Rohirrim have been summoned. Gambling, take your men down. So we do have the Damsel of Life. Got Luther Harkin up in the sky. Oh, they're going all out. They know. They know that they have no chance of basically winning the event. So they're basically just going all in. We have Pigtonia. So we have a massive Orc Boar Legion. A massive Bretonnian army. And for the Vampire Coast, what do they have? We got Direbats... Felbats. A Vampire Fleet Captain with Vangeist Revenge. And what else? I feel like the coast doesn't have a whole lot. Oh, Morngul's behind, I think. Is those Morngulls over there? Oh, and just more dogs. Holy shit, they just got like dogs everywhere. Doggos for days. Oh man, this is so exciting. Yeah, Master Rob, fair play. Anthony says, I'd say 69% of us are here for the off-topic rambling. I know. I come for warfare, I'd stay for the digressions. Hey, glad to hear that. Madad, I think? Apologies if I mangled your name. Looks like a pretty cool name. So, the battle soon to be underway. The unholy legion of ODM. Kind of unholy. I mean, you have Coast and you have Skaven, so it becomes kind of unholy. Facing off against the glorious Pigtonian alliance. We have the Pigtonia with... It's funny because a lot of the Sons of the Mountain, I believe not everyone in their clan, but a lot of them are Polish. So they're summoning the Battle of Vienna. The winged pig hussars have arrived with the Bretonnian hussars as well, and they're going to be riding into the to the army here, which is very exciting. Do you think the Pigtonians have a chance, though? It's certainly going to be a tall order to break such a solid formation like this, controlled by such good players, but I am excited to see how this unfolds. It's going to be fast, it's going to be furious, and you guys hopefully will enjoy all that goodness. Yeah, 3v3 is a fun format. I personally think for 3v3, maybe doing a little bit less funds for each player, but maybe like 7,000 per player would be a little bit more, you know, fun to watch. Yeah, it's hard to say. You could do like 7,000 and then like two SEMs per player, just to make it so it's not Hero Hammer. I think that'd be pretty neat for sure. Now I really want to kit bash a Boarboy with looted Kislebyte wings. That's pretty epic for sure. Absolutely epic. So no comments yet. Looks like players are just deploying, obviously, in 3v3. It takes some time. The Bretonnian army taking refuge in the forest, mostly. King Lewin. And who do we got? Wurzag is good. Bonewood Staff is one of the best items in the game. So basically, every time he casts a spell, the entire army, including allies in range, is going to be getting a charge bonus and melee attack buff. So think about how good that is with a massive rush, right? The Bonewood Staff able to drop some blows there. We got some crabs for Poland, has Lamprey's Revenge. I think there's dogs mostly all over, so he has most of the elements that are going to be trying to nibble into the weapons teams. Pigtonia needs to make sure to wait for their friends, though. Wait for the Bretonnians to get in position. Like, there's Bretonnian cavalry that are super far here, so the main issue that they could have, Predator really needs to make sure that he doesn't charge in until everyone's in position. Like, the best way for the Pigtonian alliance is to make sure that they actually get the full surround before they commit. So what that means is eating a little bit of artillery here and there, but who gives a shit? Orc Boarboys cost like 650 gold. It doesn't matter at all. So basically, just wait, be very patient, and then push in all at once. Aside from that, we got like some doggos hiding in the back. Scurvy dogs are just waiting. If you can get them to commit heavily to the front line, the doggos might be able to get it. And if they were able to win with this Pigtonian alliance, though they have already been essentially eliminated in terms of points overall, this would be a huge moral victory for their clan. So winning with the Pigtonian alliance is going to be a fun one. Imagine Theoden's speech coming out of like Grimgor or something like that. Yeah, or Wurzag. Somebody could probably do a pretty fun parody of that. So Jezzail's shooting down, going after King Lewin, which is fine. He's got healing, and he has the Lion Shield too if he gets focused too heavily. And it looks like the Pigtonians are going to be getting in and fighting ahead of their allies. The Fellbats, like they really need to Alpha Strike. I don't agree with the fighting without their friends, but I mean, I guess they'll rally and come back, and it's not the end of the world. So Zombie Summon's going down in the Orc Boarboys in the front, but Orc Boarboys do hit into Skaven Slaves. They don't have that crazy of impact damage, but still, the Bretonnians do swarm from every side, and here they come. This is the big battle. Looks like Tempest's going to be going down, but he does land on the ground, which is very, very strong. That's going to mean he doesn't take any damage from it. And they do get into the Lothern Sea Guard. The Hounds at the back could probably start shooting on Skaven Slave Spears. That's 100% what I would do. And Fellbats are swarming in from every angle as well. So the Pigtonians in the front get absolutely annihilated. The Savage Orc Boarboys just got dunked on. These ones got dunked on as well as the Valiant Clan Rats chase them off. And yeah, you can see Savage Orc Boarboys kind of struggling to get through the Clan Rats, which is kind of sad. But the Bretonnians on the flank, slightly more success, I suppose. I mean, getting through the Lothern Sea Guard with their 10 armor should be able to bunker bust them, but the zombies with halberds are proving to be a major, major issue here in this battle. Overall, Skaven have held the middle. White Lines of Krace are also very good against cavalry. How have the pigs done on this side? It seems that Pigtonia now going to be getting a big Waaagh. So the Waaagh does go down. It only affects the greenskins, though. That was changed. And the Broken Tusk Mob plus these defenders of Fleur de Lis trying their best to get through the white line formation. But, you know, Lothern Sea Guard white lines, there's tons of like really, really prickly units here in this army that are going to be very, very tough to get through. Now, hard to tell what's going on, I know, because we have 2 Vampire Coasts, and it gets a little bit convoluted here in this battle. But nonetheless, we do have a good engagement coming in here from Luther Harkin, as well as King Lewin, who are going after Larry, trying to goon the ODM Lord. And Larry is currently afflicted by a Hornswaggle, so her speed is going to be quite a bit slower. They might be able to actually get her out of the sky here, which would be very, very strong. Nonetheless, Pigtonia has rallied in a couple flanks. The Deep Caster, the Vampire Caster from for Poland, still hasn't even made it to the battle yet, which is pretty hilarious. But the Pigtonians are starting to get some damage in, wearing through some of the zombies, and the Bretonnian Cavalry for Grombrindal seem to be having probably some of the more effective engagements here. But some Pigtonians also getting into the back, going to be diving on Queen Bess here, trying to shut that down, but a good response from Alfredino. He does get his halberds in position to try and stop that. Will the Bretonnians be able to get through is the question. It's hard to say. Luther Harkin effectively chasing down Larry. He's got a pistol, so he can chase Larry and do like constant perpetual damage. Delicious water, but it looks like the forces of ODM are pulling ahead. I mean, the pigs have just taken so many casualties, and they're stuck in grindy fights where it's like infantry and halberds. So that's a little bit tough. And the Pigtonians back here weren't quite able to get the Queen Bess down, nor were they able to get the deckhand mobs down. Vindictive Glare going down from ya boy Wurzag, able to shoot into Count Noctilus here. And here comes Luther Harkin, maybe flying across. I think gooning is probably the only chance they have, because like there's just too many units that are good against cavalry. White Lines, Lothern Sea Guard, like Skaven Slave Spears, Zombie Pirate Deckhand Mob Polearms. There's just way too much effective shit. Grombrindal's Lord has fallen, so Theoden has been taken out by the metaphorical Witch King here. The crab is going to be riding him off, and I think that's going to be it. It looks like ODM has held. The Pigtonian Alliance not quite able to get in there and win the day. A valiant attempt for sure, and the ODM army is quite beat up. It was able to get some value, but a couple things, right? Like the caster wasn't there for, you know, the Vampire Coast for Sons of the Mountain. A lot of funky stuff. Surprised we didn't see some dwarves in this. Another, like, you know, a dwarf 3v3 match. Imagine what would be more Sons of the Mountain than bringing 3 dwarf armies, you know? And just doing like triple dwarves. My body is broken. That's basically what happened, yeah. So Lewin did come back, actually. He's getting a little bit of a whooping here. Here on the Gunnery White, Sword of Crone active, and Lewin is very powerful. He's quite good against such characters. Might be able to kill this Gunnery White. We do also have some Bretonnians coming back. Knights of the Lionhearted going to be trying to push in, and maybe can salvage Lewin's situation and kill the 2 Gunnery Whites for ODM. That would certainly be very strong. Summons are wearing off. You can see we have some summons coming in from the Sons of the Mountain that are getting a little bit of poke and stroke in there. Vampire Fleet Captain of the Deep, trying its best to fight while mortars bombard the friendly Skaven, actually freeing the character from its relatively stressful situation that it's in. But army losses is upon us soon. Lewin does get back up in the sky. Gunnery Whites are going to go in guard mode, and they're just going to start shooting into King Lewin. Negative 102. There you go. There goes my hero. Watch him as he goes. That will be that. GG, well played. A valiant effort by the Sons of the Mountain, but ODM once again claims victory, fending off the dreaded Pigtonian Alliance. Do we have reserves over here? Looks like he forgot a couple Hound units too. Did he forget the Hounds in the back? No, they were actually engaged, so just that 1 Hound unit. Really not that big of a deal in the scope of a 3v3. But still fighting. Yeah, Luther Harkin still going. Army losses takes a little bit longer, I've noticed, in 2v2s and 3v3s, so. There goes Luther. Larry getting in there. The ODM forces showing no mercy. No quarter. We missed the Vangeist Revenge cast. Did we? I'm sorry if we missed that. You can't catch them all. Can't catch them all. It's tricky unless you're playing Pokemon, which you can. All right, so currently another 3 points, but the Pigtonians tried their best. It was a valiant effort, but in the end, it was not enough. So taking a look at the armies, I'm sure there was some decent value across the board, but you know, probably nothing too crazy. I would imagine the Pigtonians probably struggled a little bit. Yeah, none of them really got over 400 value. Oh my god, that's a rough run for the pigs. The Bretonnians probably did better. Yeah, see, 900, 700. The Bretonnian cavalry had an exceptionally better performance. And Coast Army was just bats and dogs. That's a really stressful army to micro for sure. All right, so let's go to the score. Let's update this bad boy. That is going to be 3 points to ODM. So they are going to be going here. And now we have 1 more 2v2. Will the forces of the Sons of the Mountain, yes, of course. Will they be able to get it, the moral victory to end the stream, or will ODM crush them with their plated gauntlets here? All right, so Going back to the holding screen. It is going to be Shidoku and Saphir facing off against For Poland and Marcello. So let's get this match going. That was a glorious one, though. I certainly had quite a bit of fun with that. So it looks like the players are going to be saying, thanks for the game. Special thanks to Grombrindle. Hey. Kind words coming in. We do have one more game, though, if I'm not mistaken. So let's go ahead and get the score plates all set up. It looks like they're on the appropriate side, so we don't need to change anything. Map for the final battle of the day is going to be on Eschen. Eschen, a classic map for sure. Used in many, many events. Here we are. Thank you guys for joining today. It's been fun. We're going forth. We're living long. We're prospering. After this, I'm going to pass out and watch Stargate SG-1 for like 4 hours. Should be great. I'm on season 7 right now. Gotten pretty far on that. I've been enjoying it quite a bit. And I've also heard that Stargate Atlantis isn't bad also. That's kind of fun to look forward to that. Certainly some heavy memeing, but it was very, very fun to see. Very, very fun to see for sure. All right. So now we have Shidoku and Saphir versus For Poland and Viritus. Let's see what they bring. The map is set. The funds are on the correct allocation. The last charge didn't end like the movie. No, it certainly did not. It was more like, I'm trying to think of a... It was more like in Braveheart when the heavy cavalry like charge into the spears and halberds of the Scots. Yeah. It's very chaotic to follow. Yeah, that's my only gripe with 3v3s. Is like, it's really, unless you have like very set alliances where you can track like, you know, good versus evil or whatever, it's really tricky to keep tabs on everything. Still fun to see though, for sure. Still is fun. Sons of the Mountain still win my heart, says Imperial. Yeah, see, there you go. Excuse me. So we have Chaos here with Norska and the Warriors of Chaos against the old Bretonnians and Greenskin. So once again, we get a potential Pictonian alliance, which could be quite a bit of fun. We'll see if they decide to go that route. I don't think so. I think they'll probably play it more traditional. But Chaos and Norska is a fun one, because you can like bring like javelins and some mobile Norscan monsters that Chaos kind of lacks, and you can certainly address some of the weaknesses of Chaos while also staying in flavor, which I think is very cool. Yeah. The Theoden charge tried. Hey, no worries. You went for the Faramir charge. Yeah, you did the Osgiliath charge when Denethor sends the boys to go recapture Osgiliath. Yeah, it was more of that type of a situation for sure. Yeah, I'm excited for Atlantis. I'm definitely excited for it. Got to finish 3 more seasons, though. Atlantis is only 4 seasons, huh? Yeah, SG-1 is like, what, 10 or something? It's crazy. As long as my boy Teal'c makes an appearance in it, I'll be happy. All right, so the final battle of the day. Thank you all for joining. Tomorrow we will be having another stream. So tomorrow it's going to be the Faction Wars. Very excited for that. It's going to be going down. It should be a great time. Should be a great time indeed. So, a lot of fun players playing. Just got to finish up some graphics tonight and get it good to go. Who do you guys think is going to win the Faction War tomorrow, based on the current meta that you've all been seeing in tournaments and things like that? I can go ahead and look at the players real quick for you. So, for the Faction War tomorrow, we have Grombrindle playing the Dwarves. We have Call Harmon playing the 1000 Maws as our sub-faction. Dactyr, I believe, qualified with Wood Elves. We have Saphir, who's playing right now, as Bretonnia. Deadly Bunnies is going to be Beastmen. Houseplant of Clan RTK playing the Empire. Alfredinho playing the Vampire Coast. For Poland, playing Lizards. Hadri's on Warriors of Chaos. Human Boy Yes Yes on the Skaven. We have Zarix on the Forces of the High Elves. Central Scrutinizer is Norska. Razel as the Beastmen. Ice Power Total War on the Druki. Vicious Satsuma on the Greenskins. And Void Laws on the Vampire Counts. Very cool for sure. We have a very, very strong run of players, as you can see. So quite hyped to see how that goes. Rodney McKay is your favorite SG character. I haven't gotten to that character yet, so yeah. Glad to see this Norska Chaos team. Yeah. No, I'm definitely excited for that. So it's going to be a good time. Definitely going to be a good one. So we will be having another 2v2 tournament during the week as well. I'll be putting up signups most likely later today, so people can start getting their teams together. But it will be a preset build alliances style 2v2 tournament. I think that format's pretty damn fun. So we'll be doing that. Faction War, of course, is going to become more regular. Hopefully we'll get a hotfix soon, although I wouldn't call it a hotfix at this point. It'd be more of a cold fix. A couple months after the release, we finally get something. Although I suppose there's a lot of bugs in the game, so maybe they're being thorough. I like to be optimistic and tell myself that, but it looks like we may have someone who perhaps crashed. I haven't gotten any messages yet in ye old Discord, so I think we're okay. I think we are okay for sure. Let's see here. Got a couple tags in Discord, just making sure we're good. Perfect. Seems like we're good. So let's see if they load in. We had this happen earlier where we had the crash. We might just need to reset it. It looks like it's just going to be a potato crash. Someone's potato is on fire. It's been baked. That'll be the end of the road. I'm hoping there's a patch coming, yeah. Yeah, I know. It just causes more bugs. I hope not. Really fixing the Beastmen chariots would be good, like the chariot bugs. The AoE bug would be a nice fix. I mean, there's a ton of other ones, like micro things, like Ariel not healing herself with Soul Stealer. I think they need to fix the way chariots get hit too, because chariot mounted characters often take like double damage from missile attacks, which is really stupid. The Skink Oracle too is a really, really awful one they need to fix. That is just like one of the most oppressive, annoying things for sure. Warriors of Chaos has not won a faction war, but they've gotten to the top 4. They've gotten to the top 4. So in the meantime, while we figure this out, we can basically check this. I think I'm just going to have to force quit and reboot the game, because it seems like these gentlemen have just crashed. Go ahead and see. I think I've been tagged here. Let's see. Perfect. All right. Cool. We're going to have to reboot this. Seems like we have come upon a dark age here. So let's go ahead and just get the old force quit going. Total War can be one of those games that like if you minimize a lot, or it can like freeze in weird situations. So, all right, so just gonna reboot this bad boy, and we'll get it going in a second. That is the current score. You can see 2-11, very, very decisive victory for ODM today. But this is the last chance for Sons of the Mountain to get some more points on the board and get the old immoral victory. The great weapons and heavy cavalry thing, yeah. I mean, it's kind of... That one isn't as egregious, because that was... A lot of people don't know that. Like, Indie Pride made a video on it, where it was like in the very extreme circumstance where you obviously charge cavalry into high mass great weapon monster sort of infantry, like Black Orcs and Bestigors, but it was like that entire previous patch, and it was always a bit of an issue, but cavalry aren't dead by any stretch. But yeah, they need to tune that somehow. It's just... there is a bug in there for sure. Or something that's not quite right. It was better during the Rakarth patch. Rakarth patch was like the last patch we had that was like really good in terms of multiplayer, in my opinion. So rehosting, these gents can join. We'll go from there. Should be fine. So clan leaders, tell your players to rejoin. The lobby has been rehosted. I'll get the map set and the appropriate funds allocated. So again, we are on Eschen for the map. Hopefully they'll be able to get back in. Sometimes people have to like restart their computers because of like when that happens, it's some crazy shit. All right, for Poland is back. 10,000 Gs. 10,000 Gs, baby. 3, cool. Which side are they going to be on? Hopefully they'll switch to the appropriate one. Okay, they're on the left side. No problem. And update. All right, sorry about that, guys. A little bit of a delay before we get to the final battle, but it is upon us now. Yeah, the fireball bug. There's so many bugs. There are so many. Make the next game worth 10 points. Yes, the Sons of the Mountain with the steel chair victory, winning 10 points for their 2v2 match. That would be pretty funny, for sure. Okay, so now just waiting for the ODM team to connect. I'll go ahead and see if they're having any technical issues. Don't think so. I think we're all set. So I was meeting up with my oldest and best friend Paul yesterday, and we were talking about maybe starting a second YouTube channel that has nothing to do with Total War, where we basically just sit and shoot the shit. And you know the theories we've been doing on the streams where we talk about like who would win in like fights and theoretical fights and just getting like super absurd about it, but we would just do that. So the whole channel would be focused on that kind of stuff. You guys think that would be interesting? Would people actually watch that? What's the score? Let me go ahead and show you, Ice Power. It's currently a decisive victory for ODM. So they are currently up 11-2. So there's the score for you. Hopefully you should be able to see it if I minimize. Let's see. Yep. 11-2. And you can see the respective victory. So if you want to see who won what, you can see that on the board. I'll leave this up here for a minute for you to take a look at. Sorry the graphics not the best. I didn't have much time to do that, so. I'm down for a who would win TV. Yeah, it'd be pretty fun. We thought of a lot of fun scenarios for sure. A lot of fun scenarios. Do it, yeah. 11-2, correct. All right, Saphir has rejoined. It looks like maybe his teammate might have had some issues if he's taking so long to rejoin. Maybe he had to like restart his equipment or something, which was totally fine. I'm in no rush. I got no plans. Just hanging out, enjoying my best life here. Got to get ready for the faction war tomorrow. Faction wars are so fun. I think that's like the most fun format we have on the channel. Although King of the Hills have a special place in my heart. All right, so Viritus and for Poland appear to be ready despite their opponents not being in the lobby. Shidoku is on the way. Maybe Shidoku's computer is a potato. I'm not sure. Had some sort of an issue. So we'll go back to the holding screen here while we get this ready. I think the last clan war we had was RTK versus ODM. I can't remember who won that. Do you guys remember? I'm sure there's some ODM and RTK people in chat who could tell me. We had that, and there was an XMT one as well. XMT versus ODM, I think, or was it RTK? We've had 2 clan wars in recent history, so I can't remember who won those. It's been a while. His computer is acting up like usual. Lovely. Can sub if you want someone else in, up to you. You can always sub someone else in too if he's having connection issues. Hey, how's it going, Zyphos? Hey, Zyphos, why weren't you playing today, man? You're an OG of ODM. Who would win in a rap battle between Vlad and Volkmar? Oh, Volkmar for sure, I think. He's got that. I feel like he's got that aura about him. You know? I don't know. It's hard to say. So we're giving them an opportunity to sub with someone in. We'll try once more, and if you can't, chosen one will offer to sub in. Okay, so we're going to try one more with Shidoku here. He is the Dark Lord of Potato Computers, apparently, and is going to be trying his best. Oh, so there's another stream going on. Okay, so THT won against EC in today's Clan War 2. So Ice Power, who was... Oh my god, the dreaded Slanesh bots are here. Who was streaming the other Clan War today? I didn't see who did that. Thank you. Good catch. Android Poetry showing no mercy. Dude, Zyphos is like Michael Jordan, just like, oh, I'm retiring, and then he comes back and wins championships. You know, or you're like an MMA fighter as well, who retires and constantly comes back to fight the money. You're more like an MMA fighter who retires and then comes back to fight for money fights. If there's like a big event or something, you know, that you want to be a part of, or you know, and you'll come back and fight for that big event. Yeah. Oh, Crumbrindle, you're welcome, dude. All right, let's see if we can get into the match this time. The Norskin Chaos Alliance versus the Bretonnian Greenskin Pigtonian Alliance. Maybe I'll add a custom alliance for the Greenskins in Bretonia in the 2v2 tournament called Pigtonia. Yeah, that could actually be kind of a fun one. We'll see. I don't know. What do you guys think about Pigtonia? I think it could be fun. Kind of hag. Oh yeah, no. I've seen the original Stargate movie. I watched it before I started watching SG1, just so I'd make sure, because I'm really diligent about having like the proper order when it comes to the viewing experience. Yeah. Ice Power, got it. Understood. No one streamed it, but we have replays and someone will get it. Okay, perfect. Yeah. Perfect. I'll stream as many as I can, you know. Anthony, thank you for the $1. Appreciate that. I don't see a message with that, but, you know, appreciate it, dude. Hope you're doing well, Anthony. Hopefully you're enjoying this tournament, getting some factions that you like. Yeah, the bots have been getting owned by the mods today. You guys have just been absolutely pummeling them. If there was a clan war between the mods and bots, it would just be over. It would just be, like, undefeated. Although there was one moment where the bots were able to run rampant for a couple seconds. Maybe that's a W for them, but hard to say. How do you send replays? You have to go into your replay folder and your Creative Assembly, like Total War folder or whatever, and then you get that to me. You just like send it to me on Discord or email it or whatever is best for you. The OG movie is pretty wild. Yeah, it's really fun. It has Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell is in the original Stargate movie. Imagine if Kurt Russell had done the TV show. Although, honestly, at this point, I couldn't see it any different than it is, but that's always how it is. But Kurt Russell would have been great on the show also. Although MacGyver is pretty good. The actor, it's obviously the MacGyver actor. I forget his name. I know his character's name, but he's fun. The Chad mods. You bet you can't beat XMT in a best of 17 vampire count mirror, where you just have like 30 corpse cards. No, Zyphos. It's not necessarily like... Yeah, so like I'm trying to think of a fighter who's a good example of that. So like you're like you could be like George St. Pierre, you know? Like George St. Pierre retired on top, okay? Like, you know, and that's like, I guess you could say the equivalent of like you're winning an ECL or different things like that. And he comes back for interesting fights and money fights also. Like he came back to fight Michael Bisping. He wanted to come back for a fight against, you know, Habib, but Habib didn't want to do it. You know, be like GSP, dude. Pretty cool. George St. Pierre is an awesome fighter. All right, so for the Forces of Chaos here, SOTM, we have Double Mammoth backed up here by the Shaman Sorcerer Final Transmutation. And there are going to be a bunch of Condom Wolves and Chaos Heavy Infantry via Mirror Guard and Forsaken with a Light Marauder Horseman Core. So that is the entire army there. Now, taking a look here at ye old ODM, a lot of Questing Knights. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A bunch of Savage Orc Infantry to give that quality Orcish beatdown in the front lines. Wurzag with the Bonewood Staff, obviously an insanely powerful item in 2v2. And Peasant Archers in the back. So that is a summary of those armies. Yeah, GSP is one of my favorite fighters. He's awesome. He's awesome. Seems like a really cool guy too. Yeah. There you go. There you have it. The Turin bots, yeah, no, the bots raid pretty much all streams on... Oh, my... Sorry, Jesus. I almost pulled a classic Turin there. Of just casting over a blank screen. We're good. Okay. Let's recap it. We have the Greenskin Bretonnian Alliance. Greenskin Cavalry. Or, excuse me, Bretonnian Cavalry with Greenskin Infantry. Wurzag with Bonewood Staff, Enchantress, Mortis Engine, Double Paladin. Very, very classic shit. And for the Sons of the Mountain, we got the 2 Mammoths plus the Shaman Sorcerer, like I said, of Final Transmutation. Archeon the Everchosen, and decent quality Chaos Infantry. That appears to be it. You guys like rewatching the commentary? I did an entire game like that once. It was a faction war. It was my son Herbert Walker against, I think it was Aerocrastic, in a faction war like right in the early days, and man, that was pretty shameful. That was pretty shameful. So I had to cast that game twice. It's like radio. We're going back to the old days, like radio baseball and things like that. Imperial just cackles in chat randomly. It's fun. All right. So, good luck, have fun. So, final battle of today's stream. Who will claim victory? We will find out. Yeah, what does that sound? Who's messaging me right now? Yeah, I remember that. That was a very fond memory. Those were some fun times. You spill your tendies all over the floor. I don't know why that makes me laugh every time. All right, so here we go. The Hordes of Chaos, mouth breathing, just marching forward towards the Hordes of Pigtonia. Double Mammoth is going to be certainly tough to deal with. I mean, they have archers. Do they have Rusty Arrows? They do. So they have Rusty Arrows and Peasant Archers. That's generally going to be enough. On top of that, Effigy of the Git is going to be super strong. So if you cast like Effigy on a Mammoth and blast it with all your archers, it'll probably die rather quickly. So we will see. We will see. Marauder Horsemen just kind of, throwing at some of the peasant mobs here, have gotten about 20 gold worth of value for all of that ammunition used. So that probably, ironically, is a win for the forces of Pigtonia. Now in the front, we get Condom Wolves overextending for Poland. He better pull those guys back. So it looks like he does retreat them. And they are going to be kind of stacking on top of Forsaken as the Lord of the End Times, talk about overkill, cleaves the skulls of several of these peasants. Now, very aggressive play coming in for Poland here. He sends in Wulfric the Wanderer, who probably is going to get nuked into the Shadow Realm. Effigy of the Gate will come down, and I would imagine all the peasant archers will concave fire into that bad boy. Forsaken, of course, massacring peasants where they can, but Questing Knights are a very excellent counter. Good Burning Head coming in from the Chaos Hordes in the back does cook up some of those units, and Brainbust as well. Man, Wulfric really getting karate chopped here. A good response as well, though, from Sons of the Mountain using the Scroll of Shielding to mitigate some of that damage. Soul Crusher also using Enrage. The Soul Crusher has been snared by Effigy of the Git and is being attacked by what appears to be Knights of the Realm as well as Paladins. So a lot of damage coming into the Hordes of Chaos in the beginning. How are the infantry fights going? It looks like the Forsaken have done some good job, but now they're being engaged upon by Savage Orc Biggins. Savage Orc Biggins will be able to butter the bread of these croissants here, and these Forsaken are not going to be having a good time. Mortis Engine also going to be a decisive factor. Just looking at the state of the battle, it seems like the ODM team is very dominant here. They've been able to win most of the frontline fights. The Halberds are a little bit late to the party, and the Mammoths are pretty much already dead. They kind of just pushed up the middle. I think the Mammoths should have been used on the flanks away from the center mass of the army, so it's a little bit harder to get them. But one Mammoth is going to be hunted to extinction here by the Bretonnian Knights, as well as the Greenskin Archers and Peasant Archers. So Wulfric is like, screw this shit, take me back to the frozen north, and down he goes, falling off his giant throne. That's what you get for sitting up there and not doing anything. So here we have the Soul Crusher also being focused down by the combination of the Effigy and the Rusty Arrows. Rusty Arrows do get broken back by another Burning Head here, and the Halberds have finally made it in. I think they needed to engage with the Halberds first to try and fend off the cavalry from just dominating, because what happened is the Bretonnian cavalry just annihilated all the infantry before the Halberds got there, and then suddenly, the monsters are isolated. Archeon has a nice little fight here. He's got his Halberds, and he himself is going to be pretty good at picking out Paladins, but both of those very, very expensive Mammoths just got dunked on super, super hard here. So here comes some Marauder Horsemasters looking in the back. Some decent opportunities to try and shut down the Peasant Bowmen. Maybe going to be going after these Peasant Bowmen right here. But alas, that probably will be all she wrote. The Fey Enchantress is basically a hard counter against what we have left here. The Chaos Warrior Halberd's just going to be getting drained super, super hard, and I just don't see it going well. Soul Crusher getting its soul crushed by the Bretonnian Knights. Wulfric has fallen. And yeah, it's only a matter of time before the Bretonnian-Pigtonian alliance cleans up. Nice Burning Head, though, by the SOTM team. They've had some really good Burning Heads this game. I think the timing of the Halberd engagement was a little bit suboptimal. They could have taken their time with that. Condom Wolves in the back, trying to secure. They are armored Condom Wolves, which is good, so they're the XLs, the Fire and Ice Condoms. They are able to fight against the Questing Knights. But yeah, Questing Knights, again, are a great answer against them because of their armor piercing. But Armored Skin Wolves do well against, like, Knights of the Realm and things like that. They're not well, but they do better, is what I should say. Army losses, not super close. Probably going to be happening when Archeon takes a little bit more damage. The Shaman Sorcerer Metal is broken. The last of the Chaos Warriors are just being focused down by Archer Fire, and the Cavalry in the back are pretty dominant. Fey Enchantress getting on the Unicorn, actually looking to go after Soul Crusher and melee. That's pretty damn ballsy. And Rage is active. This might give the Sons of the Mountain not a win per se, but some free value that delays the inevitable army losses, as the Soul Crusher does a ton of damage against the Fey Enchantress. How's his HP and leadership? Looks like he's at 13 leadership, not taking much damage from the Questing Knights despite the favor of the Fae. And the Fey Enchantress is putting herself in the danger zone. She might actually die here. The Soul Crusher is a very, very powerful monster for sure. Yeah, look at that, getting in there, 1300. Another Paladin coming in to help the Fey Enchantress. She certainly needs it, but it looks like that is probably just going to be army losses. Well, the Mammoth is holding. Man, it's not army losses quite yet, but oh, the Fey Enchantress gets taken out by the Soul Crusher. One last moral victory for the Sons of the Mountain, as the Paladin will avenge the lady, I'm sure, and chase down that unit. Another Burning Head going to be going down. A very, very good one, probably. This will be hitting most of the Pigtonian alliance here. It'll hit the infantry, although it kind of drifts the wrong way. Archeon, Slayer of Kings, is active. He's had some good play this game, but that will be the end of the clan war. A decisive victory, a heroic victory for ODM, claiming, I believe, a 13-2 victory. So very, very, powerful there. Beautiful stuff indeed. Cool builds on both sides. The greenskins with the Bonewood Staff buffing up the Bretonnian Knights really gives a lot of good shock value. And the Mammoths just engaged a little bit too far ahead of the Halberds. They needed to wait for the infantry to be more saturated because they just engaged alone and got surrounded. And that was pretty much it. So, score. let's update this. It is going to be 13-2. So ODM almost with a clean sweep. Gromriddle and Predator were able to win their 2v2 versus Loopy and Call Harmon. But overall, that is going to be the outcome of today's clan battle. I want to take a moment to sincerely thank you all for joining. It's been a lot of fun. Both clans put up some valiant fights despite the score. There were some very close games, so make sure to go back and check those out if you did miss them. GG, well played to both sides. Thank you to the mods as well today. As always, you guys saved us from the foul bots of Slaanesh. Without you guys, we would just be overrun and corrupted by the tainted touch of Slaanesh. So thank you so much for your help. And thank you to donations today from Anthony, Anne Madad, Madame Jamalot, D. Seeley, Cabarrus, Hammond, Sound Palette, Anthony Mendoza, Simon Benjamin, Rivari, Brutal Noob, Quaden, Joe Leonard, Ian, and Nerby the Nerm, Alexander. Nickelback even donated today. Ivan with a huge 50 in the beginning. Ivan, thank you so much. And then we do also have a new channel member, so thank you and welcome. That was fun. Hopefully we'll get to see some of you guys back on the stream. I'll probably be casting other variants of this. I'm not sure, but we'll get to the bottom of it and see. There's a lot of casters, so whoever wants to cast, it'll be great. I'm open to anything, so you guys let me know. All right, take care of yourselves. I'm going to go feast, take it easy, and just recover a little bit. All right, thanks for joining. We'll see you next time. That's it. You guys enjoy your days. Spend some time with your loved ones. Pet your dogs and cats, and that's it. All right, cheers, my friends. Take care.